I do any of my
I
like.
don't make my shit quieter.
I don't think I did any of my Twitch, my stream information.
What do you mean?
Oh, never mind. Oh, I did do it.
System is like this, so I'll make it like 50.
Look at me. I'm such a.
Hey.
I'm on top of stuff. I'm on top of shit.
Ooh.
Waypoint.
It's not even close to your name.
What is it?
I don't know. I thought it was based Kaiwa. It's like Ballet Koi.
Wait. Isn't there an instance in this game where your fucking full last name pops up?
You're closing at work? Oh shit. Your full, what, your first and last?
Yes.
What the fuck are you talking about? Why would that
I
happen?
am pretty sure when I was doing the Diablo beta and I was signing up, I remember like I was going to make my character and it did a full, it just read my name. Yeah. Gulp. I'm pretty sure it does that.
Samuel Sheckelstein the fifth, or whatever.
Hey everybody. Hey.
Rothstein.
Hey everybody. Also, everybody in my stream, Brian is also streaming. Just a little, if you want to go see Brian, what's your URL thing?
I don't know. Red Dragonius, you know, the usual. If you can't spell it, you're not worth it.
Yeah. Only the people that are literate in my chat can get
illiterate.
Yeah, don't spell it out for them. Let them figure it out. Sound it out.
Stupid language, yeah. Fuck them.
Oh man.
Yeah, this game fucking sucks already. By the way, I don't even.
As this guy just asked us, "Are you a Blizzard shill?" This game fucking sucks.
This game's already terrible.
Yeah. This game certainly has lost a lot of the charm that made Diablo 2 awesome. So
$70 for this shit.
$70. You're no longer kicking Diablo's ass. You're kicking some woman.
So
what the hell, man? I wonder if there's anybody that actually believes that. Like, if there's anybody that thinks that way.
I must know.
Like, they're super concerned about the fact that the bad guy in this game is a woman and not some guy anymore.
Women are the fucking bad guys of the real world, so I'm sick of it.
I'm maxing out skeletons, so we have 40 skeletons beating that bitch's ass at the end of this. I hope I run into Lilith in a fucking alley somewhere. That bitch has it coming. Tell me of Anarius. By the way, before we started stream, I had the greatest call out of all time. Brian was like, "This guy's voice is really deep." I'm like, "He sounds like the dad from The Witch." And then we looked it up. It is the dad from The Witch.
Exactly the same
the guy.
guy.
His name's Ralph Ineson. Ineson. Go listen to that guy. It's this dude right here.
Sacrificing.
Listen to this guy talk.
Where is he? I don't even know where he is.
Holding all the wonderful gifts that Lilith gave them.
No,
the cathedral loves to go on about him. His imprisonment in hell, his valiant escape,
exactly that guy.
his glorious return here, the world he created. But they never mention how being tortured in hell for a few millennia.
I'm skipping that. I'm sorry. I played the beta like 3 times. I don't.
Yeah, not the guy that sounds like Brian. That's Brian.
And not the guy that sounds like a fucking badass. That's really cool. It's the one with the deep voice. Don't get him confused.
Yeah. What's The Witch? It's a Robert Eggers film. Come on. Oh my god. You ever seen that movie? That's an awesome movie. It's the one that put him on the map. That's the guy that made The Lighthouse and The Northman, and he's making something. He was making a Nosferatu movie, and then it ended up falling through.
I need my allies to
because of Morbius, by the way. Morbius flopped so hard that they were like, okay, you can't make that movie now.
I'll accept that. It's this guy, right?
Apologies.
Sorry.
He also gave me this amulet. What is it?
The mark of the Haradrim.
Are we gonna sit here and have to listen to the
ancient order of scholars and mages?
The people.
The deep voice guy? Oh, I was kind of just like reading chat and being soothed by Ralph Ineson's voice.
In life are set to collide.
Sometimes our paths in life are set to collide.
Whether it is by accident or fate's hand,
Have you seen the fucking video? I mean, you have, right? It's the Agent 47 voice actor. He did like a.
But at the time,
Oh, the penis pump thing or the
Not a
jelking?
penis pump. It was a it was like a jelking device. It looks like you know those like spinal cages, but for
the
your
wondrous
penis.
connection to
Yeah.
gave me.
I can never look at Hitman the same after hearing that shit.
Yeah, that was that I thought that was awesome, and I had the clip of him doing that commercial, and I was gonna use it to do voice lines in a Hitman video, because you could just there was no music or anything in the ad, so it would have been so funny. Because there's like instances where he just describes how to use it, and he's just like, put your penis inside of the Jokalator 4000.
The apparatus.
Yeah, the apparatus.
Be
And it
careful
will
not to pinch your
pull.
penis.
Yeah, it will pull upon your glands. Stiffen it. That'd be great if it got really lewd, and he's just like, you'll be shooting ropes in no time. Like, just says some really vile shit. He's a voice actor. I bet you we could scrounge up some money and pay this guy to say something horrible.
Like fucking $5 grand or something. I don't know how much he charges.
He can't charge that much. Come on. He's like he's
What is he?
typecast
He's
as
a
a
no
fucking.
name. What does he know?
He's
got a
typecast
penis
as
commercial with Hitman.
a guy. He's a voice actor for a guy that says like 4 words. Like that's like being the voice actor for Master Chief. He's just like, time to send this bomb back or whatever. Like he says like 5, maybe 6 sentences the entire game, and everybody's like, whoa, best voice actor ever. Oh, this stuff's locked. I can't do any of this shit.
I'm not reading any of this. Tell me about horses. Wait, actually, that's probably important. Wait, what does a horse say? Oh, you buy the mounts. All right, fuck it.
Should we get
You know, we're chilling
horses?
here.
Do we need horses?
I don't know. How do you get them?
I'm looking at one. Limited access.
Somebody has to
Progress
get on
in the
Bizzle's
campaign
ass and convince him to
incomplete.
buy this game to play with us.
He wouldn't play this
Harass
shit.
him. Tell him you're gonna unsub from Die of Laughter if you don't fuck it. If he doesn't buy Diablo 4 right now, he'll do it.
I'm leaving.
Where you going?
I'm going to Western Ways. Time to hit the old dusty trail. People are saying I'm wearing a Chris Chan shirt. This is an Inuyasha shirt, bitch. And
Where
yeah,
is-
it looks like
Oh, in
something
real
a
life? Are
fucking
you on camera.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing anything. This game's burning up my CPU, so I've actually been stripping. I'm taking my socks
Oh,
off now.
you're just getting
I'm
naked.
I'm in my underwear.
This
Is
shirt's
that
like something
bannable?
a 5th grader would wear. I look like a fucking dork, but I love this shit.
Bruh. I'm not gonna read this shit. Diablo's just gonna ask me to pay more money. I get.
Oh yeah,
shot
not
at.
Inuyasha. I'm sorry, Yu Yu Hakusho. I'm
Yu
sorry.
Yu Hakusho. That shit's old as hell.
It old as hell, dude. You know what's funny is the guy with the fire sword talks exactly like Eric. They sounded a lot. Yeah, Eric. Eric. I remember this guy. It was this guy that we used to play Xbox with. His fucking mom would come in there, and have you guys ever just heard somebody that just sounds fucking ugly? Eric's mom would come in and just be like, Eric. Eric, we're going down to the Burger King. You want anything?
Sounded like the fucking Mike Wazowski.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They she
the
sounded
slug
like
bitch.
the ants from The Simpsons. I forget their names.
Bro, you know what?
Is this game like loud or quiet? I can't fucking tell. I'm trying to find like a middle ground. Every time I look over there, it's getting like super loud. I'm gonna put it at -35 dB.
I put it at half, and if anyone complains, hey, go F yourself. Sorry. I mean that. Oh,
Yo, wait, can we post up here for an Instagram pic?
Swift gave me shit for my audio yesterday, actually.
Swift on no fucking shit, dude.
What
Look
does
how
he know?
badass we look.
You know, all he knows how to do is drink alcohol.
Yeah. And be
You look fucking
British.
badass.
Fuck off. Yeah, we look like we belong in Hot Topic.
Or like a freaking sweet screamo band.
Or like, yeah, we belong at a
Right.
Ghost Main concert if we were wearing Air Force Ones.
I'm gonna level up right now, right here. You don't mind if a homie levels up real quick in here.
Nah, dude, I have 2 skill points to spend. Should I just like get my bone splinters to rank 5, or should I get enhanced bone splinters?
I've just been I'm putting 1 point at everything new because new shit's better.
New shit do be better. What, bone spear?
Crits. I want crits. Fuck it, we're gonna do
Blood
crits.
lance? Throw a blood lance.
You can
that
just like
lingers.
undo this, right? I think you just undo.
It's once you do it, it's done.
Are you fucking serious?
No, I'm not serious.
Oh,
Look, it says
oh,
refund
it's
all at
refund
the
all.
bottom. Yeah. All
It
right.
costs
Well, if
money
that's
though.
oh yeah, it costs 2,500 big boy points. How much is that?
Costs me 0 right now, actually. That's your actual money that you have. The bottom left.
Oh, okay. There we go.
I think the first one's free.
Okay. Okay.
Man, this beginning part, wow. $70, that's it. It was a
Yeah.
steal.
There's some guy that's not fucking reading the. He doesn't have his finger up to the wind. He's in my chat going, "Hey, you should play Tarkov like right now."
Dude, that game fucking sucks.
There's like, I don't know a single person, even the people that are like the most dedicated and in love with Tarkov. They're like right now they're at that self-loathing stage of playing that game.
No, I just lost my account, so I don't care anymore.
You haven't given a shit in 2 wipes. Shut up. Getting you to play on that game, you're just like, oh, it's a fucking drinking, smoking night where I don't have to pay attention to
Yeah.
shit. Like
Yeah,
you
I'll
would
get
totally,
on.
you would check the fuck out. You'd be like, yeah, I'm getting on right now.
Oh yeah, dude,
Throwing shots back, be completely incomprehensible. You making me play this dog shit? I'll get fucked up. I don't care.
Return the gemstones he stole.
Wait, what does Millionaires Club do? What is that? Did I put that in there?
What?
What is that? I made what? I think I put a channel point thing.
Oh.
I don't even know what it is.
Wait, we were supposed to go else. It doesn't matter. You know what I do like about this game though is how organic the map system is compared to Diablo 2. Like
Oh,
you can actually
tree?
just you can just like walk to a different town.
Wow, I like the fact that you just walk somewhere. That's crazy. I'm glad that we waited 20 years for walking. To the
Well,
next town.
okay, Diablo 2 doesn't exactly have a coherent map. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right.
But this one you can
It's
go like,
instants
oh,
and
it's
shit.
this way. Yeah.
Well, we don't know yet. We haven't like gone to Act 2 and shit. It might be like.
What do you mean
lame.
yet? I'm looking at a town we just walked from to a new town. Like even if Act 2 goes to a different continent, like at least
Wait, there's a guy here doing an event.
where?
That might be up here,
coming,
up north.
I'm
Steal
coming.
his loot. This fucking sucks. What is this? It's just collecting little green orbs.
Not while I'm in town.
I hate the amount of I turned
Oh,
off
it's a
like
channel point. Okay, yeah, it's probably VIP then. You can buy it for 1,000,000 points or whatever the fuck I put it at.
I turned off like tutorial and help tips, and I don't know about you, but I'm still getting bombarded by them. They pop up like every second.
Toy. I just ignore that shit. This is all.
Wait, you're not sneaky level 10. Where are you at?
I'm right next to it. So bad. Where are you? What color are you? I'm right next to you. What are you talking
Oh,
about?
okay, okay. I didn't see you, dude.
We're
I'm
right
just
here.
freaking out.
I think we missed the event. It's gone now.
Yeah,
This is green souls.
that's worth something.
Oh, jar of souls. Here it is.
Where?
Right here. Look, see? Who that? Somebody put like a bunch of dog dicks in my chat. What is that?
Your dog dicks.
Straight up, it's straight, like seriously, it's just a bunch of little dog dicks.
Oh, is it like ASCII dog dicks?
No, it's just like little emote of a.
How
Somebody,
how come those like that gets through fine, but
Oh
my
my God.
Diet Coke emote was like instantly. They're like the Coca-Cola Company.
yeah, well, because Coca-Cola doesn't own dog dicks.
Yeah, but
That's
you
why.
just have a big fucking fat dog dick coming,
They don't got a monopoly on it.
and they're like, oh, that's a-okay, dude. Let that thing rip.
Oh, well, hold on. Is there a branding on it?
Uh-oh.
All right, very good.
I'm out of essence.
I'm out of essence.
See what? Wait, look. Let me highlight. Can I see what it is? It's a toe. It's a fucking. Oh shit! I fucked up my window. Looking at the dog dick. You fucked me up, dude. Oh fuck. Hold on. Okay, well, I can fix this. There you go. Think nothing happened. There you go.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm having a hard time figuring out what the hell's going on in here.
There you go. Boom.
Apprentice's wand.
Zip. Fixed. It's fixed. I fixed it. Fucking. I got shit for that. That was a waste of time. Obols.
Like a belt made out of wristwatches, man.
At 35 obols.
Oh, my guy's got some green drip now.
Why don't I stream more? Because my brain doesn't work like a normal person's brain. That's why.
Streaming would get in the way of his very tedious gaming schedule. He spends a lot of time gaming, and he doesn't want to ruin it by being live.
I had to push aside eating chips and dip today, so listen, I'm making sacrifices. Eating chips and watching cartoons. So.
Yeah, honestly, I think I have chips in the other room. I might go grab them. I find myself like on podcasts and streaming, like that's the time I want to munch for some reason. I'm in a real munchy mood.
It's because you're bored. You're bored. That's why.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I get bored. I want to eat a.
I look at for 1 second to the chat. I go, what are they talking about? Dumb shit. And I get bored and I want to go eat chips and stuff. Let's see. Let's look here.
You gotta stream some crazy game.
Munch on a penis. That's the latest from chat. Munch on a penis.
Oh, munch on a penis.
I'm not conversing with that. I want to get my chips.
I want to get a bag of chips.
If my options are chips or munch on a penis as a conversational partner, I'm gonna go get the goddamn chips.
The chips are awesome. I'd rather read the fucking ingredients in it or something.
Oh wait, this guy in my chat, Toxic Toad, he said he had an anal fissure, so he had to go get butthole surgery yesterday.
Holy shit!
This guy is
like
either
that's like an anal fucking earthquake. Are you?
Yeah. This guy wipes like he's like he's clawing out of. Like he's digging a hole at the beach or something, doing a full ass scoop into his anus. Either that or you're just actually just shoving a lot of stuff up there. I don't know what your life is like, but.
Oh shit. Oh man, so where you guys stand. When I see somebody subbed for more than 1 month, what is wrong with you? But thank you, but what the hell is wrong with you?
I'm out of essence.
I'm out of essence. Wait, do we have the proper amount of skeletons? Have you been keeping up with your skeletons?
Look at the bottom right. Does it say 4?
Yeah, I have 4, but some of them are hurting, so I got new ones.
If you respawn them, it like heals them. Oh shit! I can unlock a new thing.
Yep. Deer. You gotta kill all the deers and stuff.
I want this one. Corpse explosion. That's pretty badass in Diablo 2, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Wasn't there like a guy like Nihilithak or whatever from D2? Ooh. Like all he did was corpse explosion. It was the most annoying boss in the world, but he's like so easy to farm.
Oh, I know you're talking. It's like a little. It's like not even a boss. It's like a little man, right?
Yeah, he was just a
little necro.
A druid. Yeah.
A druid.
Or no, he was a necro. God, I'm just fucking up everything today. I should just stop talking.
Oh, shit.
All right, guys. 1 DP down. Gotta get another one. Do we have time for me to go get a DP real quick?
You have time for what?
I'm gonna go get a drink.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Get a drink. I have to get a piss out of my fucking dick, so I'll do that too. You know what? Hang on, let me do that. Give me like 5 minutes. Okay, 1 minute. 30 seconds.
I got my leftovers. All right, I got the chips. I got the cold chicken nugget out of the fridge.
Pee-peed. Time.
Like 35 seconds.
Oh, somebody rewarded my piss with a sub. Thank you, Bluey. Oh. I didn't fart. That was my chair.
You got it backwards, dude.
What? What do you mean?
You don't reward the piss with a sub.
You sub for the piss.
When people sub to me, I just start pissing on the camera.
How's the game so far?
Go in my pants.
Yeah, I go in my pants and then I go everybody, because it's against TOS to do this on stream. So I go everybody get on Twitter, and I just show the picture of under my desk with my pants covered in piss dripping.
I would not get. Okay, to the guy who said I was gonna get banned, I'm not gonna get banned in 6 months. I'm reformed. All right. You gotta remember, Sam's channel is 10 years old. All
10
right?
years, dude, decade.
That's a huge amount of time for a brain to form and readjust itself. All right.
I started that before I was like really a human,
Exactly.
like a man with complete ideas.
You know what? Racists aren't human. I'm gonna
Yep.
say it right here. You're a little cuckoo in the head if you're racist. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
Now I say that.
God damn it. I had a really good joke if we weren't live. I had a real
it's a
fucking
zinger.
yeah. It was
It's
a
a
zinger.
zinger.
It was a zinger.
10 years ago, I wouldn't have given a shit.
Yeah,
I would've
10
said
years ago I would have said it.
it. Oh, no, it was a very colorful sentence too. It was it had all the fixins in it.
Yeah, it was anti-Semitic this time.
Oh,
Yeah. Which,
Oh, that's fine.
you know what? Personally, I think I could get
You
away
get a
with it,
pass.
but I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna chance it. There's a lot of people out there that are waiting to get pissed off at stuff. It's like their profession.
Specifically who? What?
No, like people just see somebody with like
a beautiful set of chatters, just like probably the sexiest chatters in the world.
yeah, if
you
you like
think,
have
and
any
then-
amount of success on a platform, there's some people that just want to see you fall, which I 100% understand, because you know, like when you see like a big YouTuber fall, you're kind of like, oh, that sucks, but then you sit back and go like like you do like a, like it's not happening to me. I can kind of giggle a little bit because you know I'm like a bad person, but when it happens to me, oh my god, that's horrific. That sucks.
This game is fucking pretty good. This is a beta.
Is this a beta?
No, I mean this is just a beta. Like I've done this. This is all
Oh,
old
okay.
news. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. All right, we got to push through. By the time this stream's over, we'll finish what was part of the beta.
Yeah, we'll get past the beta. And I don't know.
And
I
then
played a
tomorrow
shitload.
we'll play our own. We'll play on our own the
We'll
new
play
stuff.
by ourselves. Yeah. Spoiler free for you guys.
Yeah.
You're thinking about
Is
you
it just
first.
me? It's telling me to go back this way. It says go to this blue thing, the gold well. Did I not do that at the town or something?
I think blue means it doesn't matter or something.
Oh, it's wait on blue.
I think we're on Mercy's Reach. We have
What
to
the
go
hell are
to,
you talking about? How do I see my?
I don't know. Well, I mean, we're already in here. Like,
How do I
you
see
know,
my quest log?
M? No, J.
What quest are you on? Point me out here. What quest?
I'm on the gold well spent, and then I'm
Gold.
also, but also Act 1 gold and iron tidings. Gold and iron faith. That's the one.
A gold and iron faith. Okay.
I don't know, man. I
Wait,
you know
that
what
means that says we need to leave too. Are we? Why are we in here? What is
The
this? The vacant halls? Is this something we're supposed to be in?
Yeah, I guess. Fuck it. What I noticed about Diablo 4 is like you don't really have to pay attention. It, like you'll just get.
Well, you
loot.
do
It's
if you
all the
want to
same,
finish
kinda.
quests. We're just wandering around a
Yeah.
random. We're supposed to
Like,
get
we're
paid
getting
for dungeons
stronger.
cleared, and we're just like walking around clearing shit for free.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, you're just getting experience and leveling up. You know what? Sam's uncancelable, so you don't need to be worried about that. What are they gonna do? What could they possibly do?
I'll call my dad if I get canceled. He's part of the New World Order. He will uncancel me.
Yeah, my dad works for fucking YouTube, Twitch, fucking Nintendo.
My dad works for the.
That's why he's so busy. That's why he doesn't like hang out with me or talk to me. Or like ever, like acknowledge my existence or something. But like, you know, it's because he's so busy. You know what I mean?
He's so busy ruling the world.
So busy controlling everything. Like, I bet you if I really needed it, he'd get my back. For sure. I'm confident in that one. That's why I go to sleep every night.
Yo, get on your side. Get on your mechanical pedestal.
What are you talking about? Where are you? Oh, here.
Wait, I think we need something.
Crucial object is missing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they don't make this co-op. They make it so that like even the loneliest person on earth can play this.
Yeah. Are you a sad person with not a single soul in your life?
Yeah, do you have?
This game is perfect for you. You can be friends with all these people. You can be friends with Ralph Ineson, the actor.
Ooh,
he voices a character. He voices a character in this game, and you can act like you're friends with him.
I haven't been corpse exploding. Oh man.
Is that what those are? Do they hurt me or?
I wish. It'd be fucking cool.
That would be.
I need more essence.
Like bags aren't full.
Two-handed sword. Did you pick up that sword?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can't pick up stuff. It's instanced.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Dumbass game.
Does your mom know how you are online, or does she think you're just it guy? Bro, my mom.
His mom's scared of him.
She freaks out when I say it. Cuss words.
Does she?
She's used to it by now.
Yeah. Dude, could you fucking help? Like, there's so many people just running me down. I realize you're in there picking your nose. Yeah, make those corpses explode.
I was reading. I can't read normally, yet alone while there's shit happening, okay? They didn't teach reading in my schools. When am I gonna get a fucking legendary item, dude? Yeah, actually I did that with them. Well, I level up. Let me get a new thing. Oh, corpse explosion radius increased. That sounds like a good buy.
Don't worry, I took care of him. Oh, I had to carry this back to the thing.
There's some fucking bold-faced lies in here.
Like what?
Guy who single-handedly holds forehead fables up. Yeah, no. Oh, you mean like a hold up, like holds it up? That actually makes more sense. Never mind. That's pretty.
Now Brian holds it down.
Yeah.
Whenever emotions are flying, Brian's just sitting back.
I'm just chilling. I'm like
greened
the
out
emotional anchor.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get a little hot-headed in there, and they look at me.
Whenever me and Poop start fighting, we look at each other and go, "Not in front of Brian. All right, we're gonna make him upset. We're gonna mess up his vibes.
Ruin his high, dude. He's had a long day coding at work.
Yeah. Because if you do start, Brian, he's got a long fuse, but you know you're down at when you start bitching in front of him, and he just got off work. He goes, I don't need this right now. Wait, what was it?
I don't need these stressors in my life.
I don't need this right now.
My fucking thetans.
He comes in from a long day at the factory. I don't need this right now, guys.
I don't fucking work my goddamn coding fingers to the bone 8 hours a day so that you could fucking bicker.
And then Poob's retort to that is, I did not spend 6 hours today decorating oddities and for you to come home and bitch.
I didn't spend 8 hours a day looking at shopping network and fucking browsing the catalogs.
Yeah. I feel like he spends a lot of time on his belly on his bed with his little feet kicking back and forth.
Little iPad,
yeah. Shopping away.
On the secret website that if you name it, he fucking screams.
Yeah. Dude, that is honestly the biggest hidden gem website. That app is insane.
I don't even know why he's so scared of it. You have to basically like live
because
in
then
one or two
no,
areas.
because he's advertised. No, I buy from it. It's if he advertises it, the people he's advertising to are going to be the people he's betting against.
Competitors.
Yeah. And a lot of the people, you know, they're influenced by him. They're going to get his style and everything, and then all of a sudden he's going to have to like have competition. He's not going to be able to get those 700-year-old pipes and stuff for like $12, which is what he's doing now.
True.
Yeah. I guess I should pick up all
the days when Brian would scream at Pooh and make him cry and try to say, you know what?
We miss those days. Yeah,
that was
those
fun, but people were, a lot of people were complaining about that, and also it would hold up the show a lot, Notice how I stopped doing that, and we stopped having to record twice for one episode.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes you gotta pick your battles. Do you use ChatGPT to make your code? No, I don't even know how to use that shit.
I don't even know how to tell something to do something for me. That's why you're not middle management, Brian.
Yeah, I don't.
Treat ChatGPT like you would an employee and say, code this shit.
Make this like awesome.
Make it freaking badass.
Yeah, you know why it wouldn't work? Because the shit I do involves fixing an application that already exists.
Brian works for.
Know what it's like.
Brian works for He works for Raytheon.
I work for Raycons actually.
No, he works for Raytheon, and if a defense contractor uses ChatGPT to code, that's not good.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh, you know what's badass actually? You know that homie that we have that does work at Raytheon? I don't want to say his name, but he's
the one guy.
The one guy. He sent me today. He's like they have like an internal store for employees or whatever, or where you can like put in orders for like I guess branded clothing or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, dude, ours does that too. That shit's a scam. If you fall
I know.
late, no.
But he's going to TwitchCon and he's bringing me a Raytheon Technologies T-shirt, like
that
an
might
official
be
one.
Kind of cool. I mean, for mine, it's fucking dorky
And
as shit.
There's also a Raytheon, gay pride ally lunchbox that he's also gonna get, and I'm like, that is like the company that drops fucking like missiles on Palestinian kids' heads. Like they have an ally lunchbox. That is such an insane thing to have. I'm like, hell yes, I want that. That's awesome.
You were too quiet during the last podcast. What was the last? Was that the one where I got fucking wasted?
Yeah, you actually talked a lot last podcast, I think.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was like being a goddamn therapist, borderline for Pooh, who was having a goddamn crisis. I was like,
yeah.
But I think fucking Stoltz sent me a clip. Not even me. He didn't have the balls to send it to me. But it was just me eating a chip and going. Because I was like laughing. Because there was a point where I just started eating chips. I was laughing at shit. I look like a fucking idiot. I basically just turned into the audience. It's awesome. Yeah. Eating chips is badass. Yeah, I'm not making fun of people that eat chips and watch.
Nah, chips, only pussies eat that shit. Oh, you're stale.
Speaking of that, you know what I think we should do? I think it'd be a good idea.
A chip review episode.
That, or also, I was thinking of like gambling chips. I think we should do one where we practice for Las Vegas, or even on stream.
No, we need to get a gambling expert.
Oh yeah, and tell us odds and shit. Like not even a good one. Some guy that like lost his whole life.
Yeah, because just tell us the current landscape, because I've seen Casino, and that's about my only insight to how Las Vegas works. I just want to make sure if we fuck around in a casino, are they gonna like put our head in a vice and take a ball peen hammer to our hand or anything?
We start counting cards.
Yeah, if we're that smart and that good at.
The only way we can count cards is if we hired a guy and put an earpiece on and he told us how to do it, because there's no fucking way.
All right, so what if we do that? Are we gonna get in trouble?
I don't know. Maybe. Fuck it. I just tell them, listen, man, I'm just good at gambling. Whatever. Listen, there's such thing as a sure thing in gambling. Believe me.
Wait, are we fighting like a bad guy? This guy's like a bone dude.
Are we? I've just been fucking walking around.
Yeah, I'm fighting a boss. Can you please come?
Bossa cigars for Boner City boys. When would I have that mailed by in order for Sam to get it in the PO box and bring it to TwitchCon fucking ASAP as soon as possible and put it in.
Wait. Our cigars. Yeah, our cigars like.
Oh,
are cigars like a time sensitive thing? Like if you send them now, will they be stale by the time we go?
Oh yeah, because we're going in October, right?
Yeah, they should be fine.
If cigars go bad, well, you know, I'm an avid smoker, so I'm cool. But
Yeah.
if cigars go bad, do they go rotten?
Oh, I died. Good thing we're not playing hardcore. I
you
wasn't paying
serious?
attention. Yeah.
Oh, is this you?
Counting cards, i.e., being good at the game. Yeah, that's basically what it is.
Speaking of Sam, some guy sent a poster in and he wanted everyone to sign it. I don't know if you found it. but
Yeah,
you
he
should
wants
bring it
everybody to
to
sign. Wait,
TwitchCon.
no, it's huge. It's a big fucking poster. I'm not gonna sign it.
Roll it up. Roll it up.
Roll it up. It's fucking huge. I do not have the room to bring that to TwitchCon.
It's paper, man. It's just paper. Fold
No,
it.
no,
I
it's-
asked you
it's-
permission if you can roll it up like a baby.
It's a big ass fucking roll. I could bring it right now and show it to you. Yeah, if you're looking at the.
Yeah, hold on. Let me
Whoa, not right now. Right now, I'm in the middle of getting my ass
I'm
kicked.
having
Come
a
on.
gamer moment right here.
Yeah, we're gaming. But after we killed the Tomb
I
Lord,
need to see this. 'Cause I mean, it would be cool. Although Bizzle wouldn't be there.
yeah, that's true.
But he's going to. I mean, I don't need to do every detail in his life, but he's busy, so he can't make it. This guy is really tanky.
Yeah. I was gonna sit back here for a second. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. Ow,
Bone
fuck.
spear.
Are you gonna go get the fucking poster while you're at it?
Huh?
Poster.
What does this do?
Question.
Let's see. Blood mist. Hit him with the blood mist. What does that do?
Oh fuck.
Do you have any
Yeah.
idea what the? I didn't read it before I did it. I just kind of did it.
I sent Sam a small picture during TwitchCon for you and for you to sign, and he forgot.
Yeah, no. Okay, the small one, I felt bad. Yeah.
The small one.
Yeah, the small one, I had no excuse. Because he just asked for just me to sign it. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do one better. I'm gonna bring it to the thing, and I completely, I plumb forgot.
You
That
actually-
one I plumb forgot. But no, the guy asking me to bring a giant coiled up poster can go suck my balls.
You should-
You're
you
gonna
should
have
with
to-
the wear and tear, because then you can just fold it up like and make it like wallet size.
Yeah, if you say I'm okay with the wear and tear, I am going to run this thing ragged, dude. You're gonna get it back with coffee rings on it. You're gonna get it back all fucked up. I'm gonna use it to wipe my ass. If you're okay with the wear and tear, it's gonna get absolutely destroyed.
I mean, if he wants.
Dude, I
fuck it,
keep
that's
dying.
the sign. Maybe- Are you seriously dead?
I
part
died.
two? Oh my god, hold on.
Okay, blood mist is a runaway ability. It makes you immune to damage. Oh,
Hey, you might
alright.
need that. Get 10 of that.
I'm actually a blood mist main. That's my main skill. I just run.
Bro, what the hell? I'm in a tomb. Get the dynamite!
Could you
Oh.
pick me up?
Did you double die? Oh, there you
I
go.
require assistance.
I never got you the first time, that's why. I think you like blinded me and it like, dude, these walls are really pissing me off.
Yeah, they
Holy
hurt.
shit.
They hurt bigly.
Oh my god.
How do you get by them?
Break them? Come on guys, work these walls. This guy's a really beefy guy, man.
I did that thing you're talking about where, oh damn. Yeah, he hurts, dude. If I stand right here, I don't think these walls will hit me if they blow up.
Also, the more you keep summoning those bodies, like those corpses, it like makes your guy stronger and heals him. So you don't have to like keep sucking and fucking or whatever you're doing.
You know what I mean? I'm constantly sucking and fucking. This guy is.
We're playing on veteran, so like that's why this is so difficult. It's like
Yeah.
arguably the hardest difficulty in the whole game.
Because we're a couple vets.
The devs actually said like don't play on this. Like it's actually really difficult. And like
This
if you
is
die
just for Sam and
3
Brian.
times, yeah, like if you died 3 times to like one of the first bosses, like it's okay. It's completely okay.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. It doesn't
I've
look like
actually
shit.
heard the Tomb Lord likened to be like the Taurus demon of this game.
Yeah, the Taurus demon is like they call it the first wall.
Yeah. Do
you
you
go.
know what? Honestly, the legit first wall I had in that game was the Capra demon.
Dude, you're gonna have that. Actually, no, you can't. I want
That thing was rough to me.
I didn't only because I like did the stair cheese, you know.
Yeah, but
Holy shit!
like-
There's like a whole novel here. Hold on.
I was trying to do it on my own, and I didn't know about the stair cheese. And then I gradually figured it out, but it was rough trying to do it.
I have had anal fissures. All like it's when there's blood in your butt, right?
What,
Like little
anal fissures?
When you
No.
poo a lot, it does little micro tears in your asshole. That's considered an anal fissure. And this guy got a huge tear. I'm assuming.
Yeah. No, I think it's from when if you like put like one finger from one hand in there and then one finger from the other hand, and then you pull so hard that you literally break the rubber band that is your asshole.
Oh.
That's when it tears like that. He was playing too hard, dude. This guy was playing way too hard with his asshole. It's not a toy.
I do trick shots with my shit. I shit out. I swear to God, I took a shit. It looked exactly like a KFC drumstick. I didn't tell anyone except for like the boys in the chat, but.
Word.
And I can't share it, obviously.
You could sell that on eBay.
Well,
KFC drumstick
it's in
came
the
out
toilet.
exactly how it went in.
Dude, it looked like they deep fried. Seriously, it looked even deep fried. It looked like it was breaded and everything. It was crazy. I was like, I was
Throw it
so
back in the
sad.
bucket, man. Oh yeah.
And now with ChatGPT, people just think it's fake. Like it's Photoshop. I
Oh,
didn't
with
bother taking a
AI?
picture
Yeah.
of it. I was just nah.
Turd that looks
That's
like
just for
KFC
me.
drumstick. That is AI generated for sure.
Funny game stories.
Did someone
Yeah.
just in your chat ask for that?
A funny game story, like a hee video game. I don't know, man.
Tell
I
me
know-
an epic time about when you were poning noobs in a video game.
Yeah. A guy on Xbox Live pretended to be my friend for a couple months, and then he showed me his penis on Xbox. I think he was a predator. I was like, I was 12.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny.
You don't
I
you don't have
think.
to tell him the story about how we met, but anyways.
You know,
Guy
hey,
keeps showing me his cock on Xbox.
Xbox was a wild time, dude.
Xbox was like the Wild West of gaming for me.
If you
Because
had a
like
webcam,
that
you
was
were
the
free.
first instance of like internet being like Xbox Live on Xbox Original was a thing, but I just feel like it wasn't nearly as widespread as 360.
Oh no way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
360
no, 'cause
was
there was no like
insane.
chat in those old ones.
For the corrupted
Dude,
shrine.
wow, this is tougher than the Demon King. It's just a pillar. It's spawned poopy. Oh, it didn't have a bone in it. It looked like it was a bone. It looked like a little, like, look up a KFC drumstick. That's what it looked like. It even like tapered, like, it was big and thick and round, and then it got small. Like a drumstick.
In reality, that was just your asshole crunching it off at the end. That's why.
Oh, probably.
Wait, did it come small end out first?
No, it came, no, actually, no, I think the small part was at the end.
Oh.
No, that would be insane. That's ridiculous.
God, Sam. Dumbass, what are you, insane? No, this KFC drumstick came out big
It went
side
big
first.
side first, like any normal shit. Yeah, obviously. Are you crazy?
God, Sam, what are you fucking insane? We're talking about me shit out a drumstick. Of course it's got big side first.
You're a
Dumbass.
fool. You're a fool.
Can we fucking go back to the town so I could like? I feel like I haven't had
Where's
time
Miros?
to just.
Where's Miros?
Yeah. Where the hell's the shit?
I don't know. How long is the stream gonna go? I'm gonna go until fucking Salmon.
7.5 hours, dude.
8
Well,
hour stream.
I'm sorry. Have we killed Diablo yet? Didn't think so.
Oh, it doesn't end until the big D is dead.
Yeah. It doesn't end until us and our 35 skeleton minions are dicking down Lilith somewhere in a back room.
Bitch.
We're giving her the
We'll
fucking
keep
the
passing
bone
by,
ride.
bitch.
Yeah.
Corpse Exposure becomes a darkness skill. All right, I don't know what that means.
Dude, I'm telling we do not have to be
Ooh,
here.
vulnerable,
I'm going.
vulnerable.
Fuck you. We don't have a town portal yet. There's no way for us to go home.
No, it's T.
Oh, is it?
Yep, E button.
Oh, I've got a yellow.
Wait, I still
I've got
remember-
a yellow. Do you have a yellow?
No. Wait, like a weapon?
Yeah.
I got one once and I put it on it was like a chess piece. Kind of shit, to be honest.
Oh.
Sam, you shove a foam ball up your ass. I don't remember you talking about that. You shoved the foam ball up your ass. I actually do remember you saying something about that.
Yeah, yeah. When I was a kid. It wasn't a foam ball. It was it was a foam ball that like you could put it in the water and squeeze it, fill it up with water and throw it, and it would like it was like a yeah, it was one of those squishy balls. Yeah, I plucked off a segment of foam and I put it up my ass, and then I panicked because I couldn't get it back out. And my grandma was like, "All right, let's get out." And I was like, "Ah!" I didn't want to say grandma because my grandma's super religious, you know.
Yeah, well, you could just.
I want to say like,
get in there.
Yeah. By the way, I think there is a segment of foam ball up my asshole, grandma, and I don't know how it got there. Yeah, I'm sure she would have fallen for that.
What the heck, grandma? I think the devil's trying to take me.
Devil ball went up my ass, grandma.
Grandma, I'm freaking out. There's a ball that wasn't there like 5 seconds ago. I don't know what's happening. It should have been. She would have freaking out. She would have been on your side.
That is how so many hospital visits go. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of dudes out there that cram stuff up their ass. And like, I like fell on it or something.
Cramming shit up your booty. Do you just want to keep it?
What, the foam ball?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I was like young. I was like 15, so I was just trying to see like no, I was young as fuck, dude. I was just like, I bet you I could put this foam thing up my asshole.
Hey.
That's like the rationale of a little kid.
Oh, dude, I don't know.
Wait. Warning, my return town portal will be closed. Wait, did you put a portal up?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
No,
you keep your portal. I'm going up to this church. Because this is where we're supposed to be going. We fucked up.
Didn't we clear up that fucking piece of shit?
We cleared nothing.
I thought we
I have to speak with the Reverend Mother Prava.
Yeah, I have to do that. Are you doing gold well spent? Or did you
No, I'm doing ill tidings.
Oh, that's like the main quest. Yeah, let me do that too. Let me get on that one.
Okay. By the way, let me do like a quick census, and this might be helpful for your chat as well.
Okay.
There's a guy asking
How many
my
you shove a
chat.
ball of your ass?
No, there's a guy that's like, I'm trying to play Diablo right now, and listening to your stream, you have game volume on and it's distracting. Can you turn game volume off? How many of you guys are actually playing Diablo 4 right now? Would it be better if I just turned down game volume all the way? You want me to just get rid of it? No? Okay.
That's a very niche thing.
That's not niche. I think a lot of people are probably playing this.
I guess. You know what we should do? How do we open this party up to get randoms? It's not like they could scream the N-word in chat. Let's get 2 randoms. I want more loot, and we got 1 rare in an hour. And I think if we get 2 more random people,
All right.
it would be better. I don't care about the game volume either way. Yeah, fuck it. Fuck game volume, dude.
Against sin, brother.
Yes, Reverend Mother.
Sam's pedo mustache looking pretty good.
Burn away wickedness,
I haven't seen it. Let me look at. Wait, let me see the poster in question, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Righteousness sear away
I need to see
corruption
that
and
fucking
sin.
thing. Let me open up Twitch.
Cast out thy darkness, for only
Twitch.tv.
light must remain.
Cast
For you.
out thine
Can you hear
darkness,
this? I
for
don't
only
know if I can
light
hear this.
must remain.
Yeah,
Is this the
I'm
one
gonna quiet
from
it
the
down.
west?
I'm gonna watch your
Yes,
stream.
Reverend Mother. Did Lorath not
This is
accompany
way
you?
better stream. Jesus
He
Christ.
sent me on
It's a
without
big ass poster.
putting faith in that old man was a mistake. What could possibly be of greater import?
Like,
That-
what am I gonna bring?
That's
Like
it? That's so small. You're being. It's already packaged.
so
is n-
small? What
That
kind
can
of
go in a
luggage do you
briefcase.
think I'm bringing? I'm not a briefcase.
I mean, a suitcase.
No, I'm not bringing a checked luggage. Like I'm just bringing a backpack and a
No,
carry.
because then you can go buy a samurai sword in
If you
Vegas.
travel to your
So
lesson
there's
and
good
take
reason.
stock of your events there,
If I buy anything in Vegas, I'm just gonna mail it back to my house.
of the Cathedral of Light.
Oh my god, that's
My
so
head
expensive.
focused in
Just
Lord.
bring I'm saying, just bring a
Again,
bag.
he fails in
Yeah,
his
bring that
duty.
over. Mail it at Vegas so you don't have to carry it with you, and then you can fill it up with whatever you want on the way back. And you save money on fucking whatever. On shipping. This is all smart. This is all big brain. Grab the team, Swift, Frog, Muscle. I don't even. They're fucking in the UK. They're probably asleep.
Frog is playing Diablo 4. Swift is playing Diablo 4.
Oh,
And
well, we can invite them. There, let's invite 'em. They're like level 100 or something though. They've been playing. They bought it early. Hold on, let me see. Social.
they're not going to come play with us.
I bet Swift will if I can't invite him. He's already in the party. How's that even make sense? Who's terrible? I'll invite that guy. No. Steve, I can invite Steven. Anyone want Steven here? If I don't get my picture signed by the guys, I hope the guy poster gets destroyed. Yeah, if you're bringing that one, you got to bring all of them. You know.
Every single poster.
Yeah, everybody's mail in any posters you need signed. Mail them now.
I should bring the fucking Instax camera, the Polaroid camera,
Oh yeah, dude.
with a bunch of
Polaroids
film
are
reels,
sweet.
and then I could
Polaroids
just
are
do
badass.
Polaroids and then send them off to people, and that's less space.
If you
And it's-
if you took a picture of your like dick or asshole with a Polaroid and mailed it to somebody, like, what are the odds that they would probably report you, or would you get in trouble for that or something?
I took a pretty fucking weird picture, a
It
Polaroid
says I'm
picture, and
in a
then
party. Oh, Sam might have to invite them. Sam, invite them.
who?
I don't know, Swift, Frog, anyone that's willing to fucking join, man. We're
Hold on.
dying out here. You died to the first boss 3 times.
I hadn't even looked at my skills yet. That's why, dumb asshole.
We're fucking starving.
No, we're doing fine. We'll be fine.
Oh, my leg.
Everybody we know is like way
Yeah,
more
because
badass.
guess
than
what?
us.
They spent $30 extra for what? Play the game a little
I can't
early?
invite Frog. He's Mr. Fart Turd is his name. And he's
Good
he
name,
is
actually.
our level, but he's like in the shrieking din right now with somebody.
You don't need to worry about level. Blizz made the game super casual. Tell it to Sam who died.
Yeah. Hold on, no. Let me actually look at my
Oh, is
let me
it
look at my
scaled
shit.
leveling? Is that why?
Yeah.
Steve? Here, I tried to invite Steve, man. Man's a hard guy to get, man. He's hard to reach.
Okay. I refunded all my
join
little
us.
points.
There you go.
Reap, decompose. What's
I'm
like
scared. He
the
might slur
what's
on
the
my ass. Dude, Steve's dangerous. He's a
Steve's dangerous. He's like the most aggressive person I've ever met. This guy's like foaming at the mouth for no
he's like
reason.
he's like a human chihuahua.
He is, yeah. He's always just mad about something.
He's always on the attack.
He is, dude.
I should play Borderlands.
What should be my first skill? Do you think I should do bone splinters again?
Bone splitters are fucking awesome, but I don't know if you want to be different, you want to be unique. No, don't do that. But I think bones are great. It's like a shotgun.
It is. 4 essence per enemy hit with a sweep. That's like close quarters. Decompose.
Oh,
Tear the flesh from an enemy, dealing 45 damage per second.
do that. Yeah. We're supposed to do the knife twists again.
Dude, nobody's giving me any fucking ideas.
Any
in
tips?
chat. Yeah.
Look up a
I'm
fucking build. Look up a build.
I don't want to look up a build. I want these fucking assholes
No,
to
get
tell
them
me
to
what to
do
do.
All the fucking eggheads that fucking study
Do
numbers all day.
decompose. It's so good. Thank you. That's all I wanted to fucking hear. Thank you.
Which one's decompose?
It's like the first, like your first skill or whatever.
You put boner armor again.
And then
Oh no, yeah, that one. Yeah,
bone splinter and bone spear. This guy says.
that's what I've been
about,
doing.
What about blood lance? Blood lance throws a blood lance that lingers in an enemy for 3 seconds, dealing 120 damage to the enemy.
Peg master perk. Okay, that's just not real. You're a liar. Steve's hardest rage on PS. Jesus Christ, that's an ancient. video. That is ancient. And Steve hasn't calmed down since. He's still as angry as ever. You think age would, you know, would roughen those edges or smoothen those edges? Sorry. Actually made them more rough.
Bone Splinter and Spear is S tier. All right, everybody seems to be
Oh, really?
very like
Oh,
pro
I just-
Blood Bone Spear. That's what I was using. I felt like I was just doing shit all. So
I've been fucking.
I've heard
Been
good
fucking.
I've heard good things about Corpse Explosion.
Dude,
as
I had
well.
like in the beta, you know, not to brag or nothing because it was the beta, but like I had like
Yeah,
bone
you're
spears and I was killing everything. Super good. S tier, my dude. That's so many levels in. Nah, dude. Level up the little things on the sides. I think it's better in my opinion.
You think?
Yeah, I think you get more damage if you give the like the little passives
She is
that come with the skill.
Am I supposed to talk to this lady?
one of our
I don't
flatterers.
know, man. Just follow the gold.
I am.
His skill is
I'm not a liar. It's there. Fuck you. Point it out. Show it to me right now. Where is it?
Am I insane? I'm looking at the little map. It says there's like, take Vigo's report at the Cathedral of Light. Where the hell's Vigo?
Is there any way I could send you my forehead fables pick this up? I do. Hey, you know what? I don't got a PO box.
Yeah.
I
Yo,
ain't
give
gonna
me
pay
give
for
me your
one.
private address.
And I, you know, you might be a good soul, but I don't know. I don't, you know, shit leaks.
Brian,
What?
I never got to do the report thing that's back here. Do you know how to do this?
What are you talking
Do you have a gold thing back here,
here.
at this lady?
Go. A little dirty bit. That's me. How am I there? That's me.
That's not. This is Reverend Mother Prava.
No, I saw you walk to me.
Yeah, there's a delay. This lady has a gold thing over her, and when I hover over it, it says take Vigo's report at the Cathedral of Light. Who the hell's Vigo? It's a scroll by the table.
All right.
Oh.
Anyone here that's been playing Diablo? Who's Vigo?
No, it's that scroll.
I'm also here. I also see this.
I don't see this. I can't take the scroll. Is that his report?
All right, dude. This is actually embarrassing. I can't even figure out this baby game. I've completed this chapter. I see the knife twists.
Yeah, I
think we're
can't
just
take the
done.
fucking. No,
I think-
there's a red scroll that people are like, you can take it. I can't fucking take it.
They don't let me. Yeah, don't let none of us take it.
Yeah.
All
Oh.
right, let's do the knife twists again.
Wait, but people are saying the servers are DCing. No!
Oh fuck.
Oh
He's near the watchtower. The Steve's leg thing, I fucking like cried laughing.
no! Yeah, that was
when
pretty
that
funny.
happened. That is one.
I love
that's
how
like,
that-
that's a
that
forehead
trip-
table greatest moment.
It is, and
Wait.
that trip has been an kind of like a background blight on the friendship since then. I think it's never been the same.
Yeah, he won't even join my game. He says going to bed in 20, playing with Swift and Frog right now. That fucking piece of shit.
Piece of
You
human
are a
garbage.
piece of shit.
Say
And
things that you're not allowed to
I
say on
want-
stream to him.
I
Destroy
want
him.
I want you
Kill
to
him.
know that. It's just love here, though. That's just how we talk. Actually,
Yeah,
wait, he might fucking call me the N word. I don't know, but it's censored. We're good. We'll be fine.
Okay, so we can't grab the thing.
You
Not while I'm in town.
Not while I'm in town.
wait. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This we were just talking about the poster. Sam says it's too big. He says
too
it's
big.
too big.
It's too big.
And he said if you're okay with him fucking it up, like folding it up into like a wallet square,
Yeah.
he'll do it.
Not like
But
a
it has-
wallet, but like I'm going to. It's probably gonna get damaged.
It's gonna have like 80 creases in it. And-
It's just a bit big to be taking in a checked luggage in a backpack. That's all I'm bringing. Not checked. I'm sorry. Just like carry on in a backpack.
Yeah, so he might trash that fucking He's gonna fold
I'm
it
not
up.
bringing my my cartography tube. You know, with my little satchel that you see architects walking around with. Not bringing one of those.
Roll it, dog. Use some physics. That's what he said. He said roll it. It's already. It comes rolled.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll it smaller.
Roll it like a little cigarette.
Yeah, it's gonna be so tiny. You're never gonna get into a picture frame because it's gonna be so coiled up.
No, he wants to fold it in a little, like a little map.
Yeah, you're gonna get it back and it's gonna be so fucked up.
It's gonna look like a
folding it.
GTA map that comes with the
Yeah.
fucking game. Like that's, if you're okay with that, he'll do it. That's the best you're gonna get apparently, because he doesn't want to get a luggage. You know?
Oh, this guy says there's an update.
Are you serious?
May want to restart. All right.
Oh,
All right,
oh,
guys.
all
All right.
What, I gotta like exit the whole game? Or just-
Exit the whole fucking game. Download it.
Shit. All right. I believe that guy. I didn't even fact check that. I believed him instantly. I left. That could have been just a fucking lie.
Oh no! This guy said I can't get back in. Don't do it. You'll be trapped in loading. You have soiled the stream. You have
There's no
fucked us
way.
over.
Oh
There's no. We have. I forgot to. We got.
no, it's
I am,
updated. He's not lying.
I
He's
am updating, but we got streamer preferred servers. Remember?
Well, you do.
No, we both do.
Oh, of course.
I talked to somebody. Once you get past a million
said-
subs on any platform, you can talk to someone and get
So somebody
preferential
else-
treatment.
the guy who wanted the picture sign, he said it's worth it. So if he says it's okay, I think you should fold up that guy's that poster.
Yeah.
He says it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know. Just out of curiosity, Sam busy not doing mail time or not getting enough mail? I don't know.
No, I get too much mail, and I don't want to just have like back to back mail videos. When I first opened the PO box, I just
That's
had so
not
many
true.
goddamn like mail videos that I was like, I just didn't like having that many in a row, you know. And so now I try to do like one every couple months, maybe.
And off stream, he said, you know, it's not worth it for him. Like, if people started sending money in the mail or something, or like rare gold bars and shit, like, then
Yeah.
he'll start doing it again.
I really like opening gold bullion, silver ingots, any
Gems.
conflict diamonds. Yeah, if you have any blood covered diamonds, send those in. Really big on any gold heirlooms, bonds. If you have any just signed bonds that have matured, that your family has in a safe anywhere, send those in. Stuff like that.
Your fucking credit card that you
Yeah.
didn't cancel. That's fine.
Deeds to properties, deeds for titles for cars. I'm also into those.
Car keys in an envelope and a map to where your car is.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I don't want any titles for boats, houseboats, anything like that. I'm not a big water guy, so if you have a big like a 60-foot yacht
I'm not
or
greedy
something,
either. I'm not gonna take
yeah,
a boat,
I don't,
you know,
I don't want to be a yacht guy. That's when I've gone above and beyond. I think, and I think people will say I've lost touch if all of a sudden I have a yacht.
Wait.
By the way,
original
I'm
post, the guy
Kuhn.
consented. We got consent, but he wants Bizzle's signature. That thing is gonna be like the sisterhood of the traveling poster.
Oh,
We have to
really?
send it to Bizzle, and you know that because he's not gonna be there.
Yeah. Well, maybe just 3. They'll settle for free for 3 signatures.
How about we get Bizzle to like write a signature down, turn it into a sticker? and
How
just
about
stick
fuck
it
this
on?
guy? I'm not bending over backwards to get this guy's
That'd be
goddamn.
awesome, though.
This
That'd be
guy's like a
dope.
beg me up poster thing, and then we're sitting there publicly talking about how we're gonna bend over backwards to fulfill this guy's little goddamn
And that's
Christmas
it.
wish.
This
And
is
all
the
these
only
people are
guy.
listening to it, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, maybe I can get him to fucking next TwitchCon. I'm gonna have a huge briefcase full of just nothing but posters and shit that people want signed."
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So like this is it, one and done.
Yeah,
That's
this
it.
one guy gets it.
It's
all
gonna
right?
be
This
a
one guy
video
gets
and
special
everything.
treatment.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
cool. He was the first one to ask, and the other guy has a small picture. He could just tag along. But that's it. Just those two. Oh shit, dude! I gotta wait less than a minute.
Yeah, it says I have 1 minute left as well. Stuck on
Feel
game
bad.
pending. Fuck.
All right.
Oh,
Shame
dude,
I need
that
for
would
not
be
knowing
funny
everyone's
to
life, but
like get the poster, make a video about us traveling, bringing the poster, and then like
I guess blowing away in the wind or some shit.
No, I get it signed. I bring it back and everything. I pay for an extra seat so that Poster can sit there with the belt buckled on the plane. It's got window seat. Get it a meal, the whole nine. And then when I get home, I put it in my mailbox, and then I just light my mailbox on fire. Burn it down. It's gone.
Oh, you're so fucked.
Yeah, that would be.
I don't know. That'd be worth more than a poster. I think that's a whole video dedicated to you. Honestly, that's fucking dope. I'd say
That's
yes
true.
When's a Fortnite stream? Fucking never, dude. Never ever. Or maybe next week. I don't know. You run out of shit to play.
Destroying a mailbox is a crime. My own mailbox, it's a crime.
Yeah.
Fuck you. All right, don't make up laws. All right, I can go outside right now and beat my mailbox to death with a sledgehammer. It'll be fine.
Pay for the damn seat. Oh, dude, he'll pay for the seat. He'll pay for the fucking seat, dude.
Oh, okay, yeah. Pay for your poster's seat. In reality, the poster's gonna be in my bag. He's just buying my seat.
Just forge our signatures. They don't know what our signatures are.
Yeah. Wait a second.
Just
I could just fake them. Yeah, just sit on my hand or something for a while and then just sign. Left hand, have Abby sign somebody. My character isn't in game, by the way.
It says, well, my fucking queue is less than a minute. Now it's 2 minutes, so something's fucked right now. All right. It's messed up.
Oh, fuck.
Bit of a biscuit eater.
Boom. Butt chug. Start game. I'm really panicky about this getting into the game scene because I'm pretty sure I've seen my full last name on this game.
What?
Just
Why?
reiterating
Is your Blizzard name like your first and last name?
No. Yes. I don't know. It might be.
I think my name is Big Boner, so it's like impossible to find my real name.
This guy says you will never get in. Queued for game. Start game pending. You forget, my friend.
Log into Diablo 4.
We have the preferred streamer servers, dummy. I'm gonna get in like.
Why does it create new character? Where's my guy? Where's? Uh-oh.
No, it'll load for a minute and then it'll let you in. Yeah.
All right, we're good. We're fine.
Sam, I have to restart. No, I just got the update. How did my armpits smell? I just took a shower.
N-words though.
Feels good.
That's why would we ever write the N-word on anything ever again?
Yeah.
Ever, never, ever.
Society has made it very apparent that word isn't cool anymore.
Thanks to shock therapy, I can't even think the word anymore.
My favorite Jolly Rancher flavored Waldo.
It hurts.
Yeah.
Now I know what it feels like.
Yeah,
that word.
like exposure therapy or whatever. Like they strapped me down and did like the Clockwork Orange. They held my eyelids open and then showed me every instance of me saying the word from the time I was born.
Starting at like fucking 1.
Yeah.
1 years old.
Oh, my first N-word. 1 years old. God, what a horrific life I've led if that's the case. I was hoping at least like the first one was like 12 or something. I don't know.
1 years old, and that was the first time he got beat up for it too. So it was
1 years old.
Yeah.
Horrible.
What'd you say? Throw you into the wall. You can't make any jokes about anyone being lame when you two dorks make rage comics and Facebook DMs. Okay, well, I can't. That was a different time, all right? Just like the N-word, it's a different time. Rage comics were new back then, all right?
Oh, yeah. I've talked about that before. I think, like, we used to make our own rage comics. And do you remember doing that?
I don't think I partook in the rage comic part,
you
but
partook, you motherfucker.
Left likes and XDs.
No, you were there. I remember, like, sometimes we'd get on and we'd be like, all right, dog, this one's just right off the presses. This one's fresh.
It's a blur. It's like trauma.
Yeah, it's a blur because it's like you don't want to remember the horrible shit you've done. You know, you don't want to remember the bad stuff. But I
like
logged
thinking
back
about
onto
that.
Facebook and I saw our old group chat.
Oh, that shit's
And-
fucking embarrassing. That is
Yeah.
like, it's so crazy. Like,
If my Facebook gets hacked and people find that group chat, I'm going to self-implode. Just not because of like
Outta cringe.
horrible edgy stuff. Yeah, it's just cringe, dude. It's bad. This is like 2010.
peak
2000
internet humor, dude.
Yeah, peak internet humor. Bad like rage comics. Why you know, whatever. Whatever all that shit is. I used to have all the images saved.
That you used to say "me gusta" a lot too when we were playing games. You go "me gusta." Ooh. every
Fuck
time.
yeah.
And then every time you fucking get killed in Call of Duty, you do the fucking Jackie Chan like weird face. The what's going on?
The weird Jackie Chan face.
The one, remember the Jackie Chan face where he looks like confused? What is that
Oh,
called?
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Not, not
Asian
Jackie
man,
Chan's real
Asian
face.
man.png. I know what you're talking about.
Jackie Chan meme face. Boom. If I look that up, look,
Yeah.
see, boom. Like a drawing of him. He's holding up his head, going, "Oh my god!"
I have a
can't
feeling
believe
we're
it."
just gonna be here like assholes for a long time.
Yeah, for the next hour, just sit here and fucking. Are you Q too?
Yeah, I'm cute.
Oh my god. That guy who fucking told us to update, like, hey, God bless you, but also fuck you. All right.
Yeah.
You were half right. This is awful.
My girlfriend got in, but I haven't, and she's sitting right next to me.
She's more of a gamer. than
I
you.
feel like that doesn't help. All this guy's doing is that was just a humble brag. I got a girl that's living with me and she's a gamer.
Yeah, pull her fucking Ethernet cable out. See how
Yeah.
cool that is. Maybe if you take her Ethernet cable, plug it into yours, maybe you'll like log in. It'll like take it over or something.
Greetings, Mr.
try it.
Sam.
I think that guy's just lying. I think he made that up. He's sitting in a room in queue like me by himself. He's crying.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about your body pillow logging in for.
Yeah, your fucking your second PC.
Show us a picture of her, a real and an ID.
Yeah.
Show that she's real.
And her
And her
asshole.
play Diablo. and yeah, an asshole and an asshole
some,
stamp.
some people do the shoe on head, you know, but like I feel like there's a lot of that's been such a common thing of like, oh, prove you're a person, do timestamp. That can be photoshopped. The shoe on head can be photoshopped, but a girl sitting next to a monitor that says
What?
queued for game starting, and she's has her asshole out. That's probably hard to find a second picture of. I feel like that would be legit. That's the only way you can prove she exists.
Otherwise, you're fucking lying.
Yeah.
Especially
go
the
for
part
the
with
classic
Diablo thing.
Holding up the day's newspaper. What are you, like a mobster trying to have an alibi? I feel like that's worse than just coming up with an actual alibi. Like mobsters back in the day, they were like, oh yeah, I got an alibi. I happen to have a photo of me holding up the day's paper.
Yeah.
It's like, who has that? Who just has that on backup? Like that just tells the cops that you have something to do with it, you know?
I think it's pretty believable. What's wrong with that?
Randomly just take photos of me with the newspaper.
Yeah, because they're so, you know, they're covering their tracks. They're actually innocent, but they're just making sure, you know.
Couldn't you theoretically go out, buy the paper, kill the guy, bury his body, and then the next day take the photo with the newspaper? And then say that's the alibi? like just because you have a paper from the day it happened doesn't mean you couldn't have committed the murder. It seems like a whack way of doing it.
This queue time fucking stinks, by the way.
Yeah, this is.
But you want to know what's funny? I've seen more Brian streams than any other streams. I saw Poop stream once, and he got mad because I brought up how he gave up banging up the boss's daughter. That is really sad that he, you know.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know why he gets so mad about that.
Yeah, not just.
He did the right thing. He did the right thing, I think.
Not just gave it up, but like,
You know.
come on. This wasn't just the boss's daughter. This is like you get in that, you're set for life.
It's like John, yeah, like fucking Microsoft's daughter or something.
Yeah, this is like a
Which is
pussy
crazy.
of gold. This is gold pussy, and he gave it up.
Gold pussy.
Gold.
That's just how honest of a guy he is. He doesn't even give a shit about that. Like,
Yeah, he's
Midas
not about
pussy.
the pussy. He's not about the money. He's about the artifacts. He's
exactly the rare
Indianapolis Jones. Or
Now, if
whatever
she was
he
the
calls
daughter
himself.
of a guy who owns an antique shop, then he'd be fucking
Yeah.
her every day.
Yeah, he would have been.
He
He would have been over backwards to fucking eat that pussy. Oh, your dad owns an oddity shop.
Oh my god. Yeah. He's the guy.
I actually don't like fucking. I just eat pussy. That's all I'm into. Can I meet your dad, by the way?
Yeah. Can I see him? Too? What does he do? Like, how did he get these?
Oh man.
Oh, no, I don't think that.
He should get married and have kids. I don't know if he has the. I think that would honestly fix a lot of the issues he was bitching about last episode.
Wait, the guy with the small picture sent you a DM, Sam. The guy told me he claimed 100 channel points for that, so
Oh, nice.
that's a lot in here.
Yeah, we really did
All
get
right.
fucked over by the guys saying to restart. We didn't get fucked over because the game was broken. We couldn't progress anyways.
Yeah, well, I could. I didn't have to
What?
do the scroll thing,
Oh yeah.
but I mean, what we can play like there's no other game to play, is there?
I'm not playing hardcore lettuce. I died already twice.
Hunt Showdown. No, Hunt Show. We're waiting until Hunt Showdown updates, then we'll play that
You
shit.
playing hardcore pussy boy.
It's gonna have a little alligator.
Hmm.
Until that happens, I don't want to touch it.
Lettuce, are you on like some
Fall Guys.
femboy arc?
What?
That's people keep calling him femboy lettuce.
Is he a femboy? I don't remember him looking like a femboy.
I don't know.
Play a game of chess versus Sam. That'd actually be fucking. That would probably take an hour.
Yeah, yeah. I think I could win.
How high are you right now? I'm actually sober as a skunk. As a judge. That's the one.
Somebody said femboy. Where they at? Lettuce sucks is his name. He's a femboy.
He's a big femboy.
Yeah.
Loves
He's always got them
femboys.
thighs oiled up on Twitter. He's always posting his OnlyFans and shit.
Do you have an OnlyFans?
I don't know. Lettuce, do you have an OnlyFans?
All right.
I'm waiting for the response.
Yeah.
He's not in here, right? He's not like in the call.
He's no. I don't even know why I said that. Like I expected him to
All
say
right.
like.
Yeah. Lettuce is
Alright.
real quick. He's real quick with the stream delay and everything. He anticipates what I'm gonna ask. I honestly I don't know if he does have an OnlyFans.
There's a new
I think he just
Spider-Man.
like hangs out with OnlyFans people or something.
Hell Let Loose. I think I
maybe
deleted
not.
that game. I have to reinstall Hell Let Loose.
Are you not a Hell Let Loose fan? I feel
Me?
like
No,
yeah,
we hadn't played it for like a year, and I was like, okay, I'm getting off. I'm like, I need space, so I deleted it.
I loved it, and then I just always felt like I was dragging Bizzle into it. Like he was like, he didn't want to play it. I could tell. He just wanted to play tape to tape. He was a tape to tape man.
I didn't mind Hell Let Loose. I think I was half the time I was getting absolutely ripped, and so I was just running around like a robot and dying. But if I was playing for the clips, I'd probably have more fun. I did like fucking with that guy with the tanks and shit. Like, that shit's cool.
Yeah, that guy
Bothering people is fun. Like, what
Yeah,
game can I
that's
just
the best
bother
part.
people?
That's the best part for sure. That's why squad and everything's so fun.
That one guy's game master. Oh, I forgot. No, he doesn't regret that. I can answer that. No, doesn't regret it. I won't
Regret
do it.
what?
Being in that guy's gay masturbation video. What is there to
Oh.
regret? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
What
I mean
is
it's
it,
like
regret?
green screened. It's not like I was fucking him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But good luck running for president, you know?
I think
That's
that'd
it.
still
That
be
was the
fun.
one thing stopping you. No, they
Do you
hate
have
gay
any
people in
interesting
Florida. There's no
podcast
way you'd
guests
run.
planned?
You wouldn't get to governor. You wouldn't be able to, like, you know.
Do
get
I
some
have to?
XP.
Do I have to be governor first? I figured
You need
like.
some XP, you know? Well, I guess Donald Trump didn't have to do shit, really. He just, like, appeared.
Yeah, but he was a successful businessman.
Oh, yeah.
But in the future, this what I do for a living will be respected, and they'll be like, oh, this guy's like a what's the word for that? Like a demagogue or whatever. Like
That's
a
true.
person that can rally the people.
That's fucking
And,
true. Like, no,
yeah,
hear
he'd
me
be
out.
the president of the future is going to be a TikTok star.
All the old people are gonna be dead. All right, they're gonna be fucking rotting in the ground. Your grandparents gone.
Gone.
And when that happens, the Zoomers are gonna be the main voters. And what do they think is cool? Gamers,
Gamers,
and
TikTok
TikTokers.
stars, pranksters, stuff like that.
Your
People that can
sub-count's gonna
flip
be the
a
most
bottle.
important thing you have. Bottle flippers, yeah.
Could you imagine a
miracle.
president going up to the podium and just like being like, "Sorry guys, I was listening to music on my Raycon brand earbuds."
Right. My
And now for
Raycons.
the State of the Union. Yeah, this State of the Union address brought to you by Raycons. That would be badass.
They
Man,
just get a
I'm
bottle
full from my Factor brand or from my HelloFresh. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit late. I just got finished eating HelloFresh.
Wow.
This president stays full on HelloFresh.
I had to undo my belt. I'm sorry, I just couldn't help myself with all this delicious, scrumptious, pre-made meals from HelloFresh. Oh, God, I couldn't resist after this discount code I used here, President 2050. Oh. Is Poop and You Duo episode ever gonna happen? I don't know, maybe. Fuck it. Fuck it, right? I did it. Sam, would you ever be down to do VR?
Yeah, when? You gotta give me like a date.
I
That's the
just
problem.
said
Like every time you guys go, hey, let's play some VR.
Like stream it in VR.
Yeah, you got to give me like heads up though.
I'll actually set up a camera for that. All
You
right.
gotta give me heads
Heads
up.
up. Here it is. This is your notice.
Okay.
Anywhere between now and 2024.
Ooh.
There's your
There's
notice.
a lot of time for me to procrastinate there.
There's no good games, dude. Like those games
Yeah.
are fun for like a day and then you're like done. So I have to wait till like the newest, funnest game
Probably,
comes
I don't
out.
want to have to suit up when I'm trying to like. I just want to vibe and
On the
kind of like.
Zaza. We could do it on
Yeah.
like a weekend, so it's
I
like
just want to vibe. No, weekend's worse. Like I feel
Friday.
like
On
that,
Fridays.
a
'cause
Friday. Yeah, a Friday I can do.
Friday in the afternoon. I could probably
Yeah.
squeeze that in somewhere this month or next month. You play Ready or Not, or what's the Ready or Not, but for VR? What's that one called? Ow, my fucking
Ready or
elbow.
not, but for VR.
Yeah, or
and
it's
it's just
like
called
it's
Ready
like-
or Not.
No, that's the no. It's not Ready or Not. It's like Siege, but in VR. What's that called?
Oh yeah,
I'd be
forget
down
what
to
that's
play
called.
that.
Yeah, that's Stalt has the name of it.
Yeah, he'd fucking know that. He'd know that. Would you and Poop hold down the fort if Sam Sally passed? No, I'd probably just scatter. We'd be done.
That show's
Abby-
fucking 1 month away from falling apart at all times. Anyways,
it's always
Yeah.
like it's teetering.
It's always teetering into the garbage can at any point.
Everyone starts panicking when there's no guests. Oh fuck!
Yeah.
Fuck! Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know what would happen? Like real talk, Abby, God bless her soul, but she's like one step away from being Amish. She would not know how to even like
No.
give the credentials to the account. All right.
She knows how to use Pinterest.
She knows how to use Pinterest. That's what we're working with here.
Yeah, that's about
That
it.
account is gone.
Yeah. No, by the way, there's people that are like, you need to update. Like, do they mean update again? We've already left once to update and now we're in the queue. Do we have to leave and update a second time? We just updated like fucking 15 minutes ago.
Yeah, this is bullshit. There's no way there's another update.
Wait, this guy says, I find it funny. I just launched and got in faster than him.
Cancel. I'm gonna
Yeah,
restart.
I'm
gonna
canceling.
restart.
Dude, this,
Uh,
I'm restarting the whole thing.
Well, I gotta stop everything. I gotta stop reading.
Yeah. Everybody in chat, shut up for a minute. All right.
And-
We're doing tech stuff right now.
Yeah, no, the reason I'm not on camera is because I'm in my fucking boxers because this game is melting my goddamn room It's making my goddamn GPU scream.
The reason why I have my camera on is because I live far enough in the south that we have what's called central air. And my room, regardless of how hot this PC gets, stays at a nice 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Plus, I have my little fan blowing on me. Keeps me
My
nice and cool.
thermostat runs on the upstairs temp. I can't. There's nothing I can do.
Dude, that's why. Wait, your thermostat runs on upstairs temp. Upstairs is
living
usually
room.
hotter.
Well,
So
the living
like
room temp.
your basement should be fucking
Cold as shit, right?
cold. Yeah.
But
Why
this
is it
fucking-
hot?
This because this computer, this 2080 Ti piece of shit, is fucking like molten lava next to my legs. That's why I'm so hot. I'm sweating.
Dude, I have a. I don't even know what this thing is. I have a 4090 behind me and I can't get it to work. It's just sitting in the box. It is driving Stalt crazy. He's like, it's just sitting there. It's just sitting in your room.
Doesn't it not work? Didn't it like get fried, or was that the power supply got messed up?
No, my power supply wasn't working, so I just
Gee, unlucky,
Yeah.
dude.
unlucky.
I'm
Yeah.
like, how did that happen? Imagine having podcast money and having only a 2080 Ti. Yeah, that's true. I don't know why a graphics card would matter for a podcast though.
Yeah. But Chug, start game.
Close the bathroom vents.
All right, we're queued. Game pending again.
Wait, Meat Canyon has a podcast?
Meat Canyon has a podcast?
That's a lot.
I asked him to
For
come
real?
on our podcast, and he said,
Oh,
I
get
don't
him
do
on,
podcasts.
Get him on. Yeah, he said, okay, there it is. He said, I don't do it.
He says, I don't do podcasts. I think he
You owe
just,
me.
but he then turns around and has a podcast?
No.
fucking guy.
I misread it
Okay.
because I'm a fucking illiterate person.
Okay.
That was my fault.
I was about to be fucking pissed.
Yeah, he's been on multiple podcasts. Fucking link them right now in the chat. Link them. I want to see them.
He's been on, but not on ours? This is worse than
Wha-
when Haley Joel Osment
That's a big
refused
lie.
to be
You
our...
should fuck, dude. If this guy produces links, send it to that guy. Send it to him and be like, really, you don't do podcasts?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Really?
What's that? Huh?
Hey,
Lying
change
to
the
my
tune.
fucking face. I would love to do that too. Just like confront someone with a lie when they were trying to just shut you down nicely, and just be like, "No, you're coming on mine. You very obviously go on podcasts," and then
Yeah.
he just doesn't want to be there, so he's the
Oh, he
worst
linked
guest
it.
in that moment.
But this is better not be like a fuck. Oh,
He has a podcast.
there's two of them. Oh my god.
Oh,
What? This is 6
I'm
months
mad.
ago. When did you ask him? Wait, there's another
literally
one?
like 6 months ago.
two. Okay, this guy is insulting. This is 4 months ago. This guy, the links don't stop coming.
Okay, wait. Actually, let me double check on Twitter here because I might be thinking of a different person, but I'm pretty sure it's Meat Canyon.
3
Me.
podcasts.
Meat Canyon.
Yeah, let's fucking beat his
Ruben
ass. Let's
to
find out
Willis
somebody.
got
Hey,
me
somebody
kinda
get his
hot
address. We're gonna go kick his
WWNY
ass.
dog.
We're gonna force him on the podcast. Wait, don't actually do that. I think that's illegal or something. Don't do that.
Meat
Uh,
Canyon.
This is dude AI, and he's talking and everything. It's not even like a JPEG. This is really him talking. Which one's him? I actually don't know.
It wasn't him. I asked because I don't even have DMs with Meat Canyon.
Okay, well then we look like
Yeah.
idiots.
Yeah, we
Wait,
look like fucking
ask
fools.
him. Ask
It
him.
was
send him a-
somebody. Oh no, that
it's
was
an
it was the
animation.
it was the Sad World guy, the guy that
Oh.
used to be
Timmy or something.
yeah, the Gibby or whatever
Gibby.
from iCarly. He has like this awesome YouTube channel that's actually weird as hell.
I almost just fucking cursed this man up and down, and you didn't even. You had the wrong guy.
I had the
know you
wrong
asked
fucking
sick
dude.
animations, and he said no because he doesn't. He said he doesn't. do
Yeah,
that shit.
Mark said no.
Now, if anyone can get sick animation on a podcast here as proof, link it in here.
Yeah.
So drama's about to happen. Twitter drama's about to happen in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
What the hell? You walk in here like a fucking vampire. Why'd you do that? Oh yeah. Well,
He's hung
camera's
as
not on,
hell
you're
too. Look it up.
he's hung as hell.
Wait, who? Meat Canyon? All right, we're looking up Meat Canyon's cock right now. Meat
You should try
Canyon
for
cock.
Sir Paleo. Juice World died, you idiots. I don't. Were we talking about Juice World?
No, we weren't talking about him. We're talking about Meat Canyon.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing any Meat Canyon cock.
Try to convince each other. That would be a funny bit. The convincing each other to come out of the podcast or just us being all lazy as shit.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, this guy's talking about Gibby's cock. Okay. Gibby's cock.
Oh.
Gibby's cock.
Don't look up Gibby's cock. He was a child in that fucking show. Do not look up
Oh,
Gibby's
no, it's
cock.
a bunch of... There's a porn star apparently named Gibby.
Oh,
so that-
okay.
Yeah.
You should try for Tomar or Chris Oni from Oni Plays. Or fucking Psychic Pebbles. Those would be pretty cool, actually.
Psychic Pebbles would be awesome, yeah.
Oh, Sir Pello. Who's that? Is he an animator or something? All those people would be cool. Except I don't think they fuck with us. I think they're very much in the their own. They keep to their own. The talented animator folk, you know?
No.
People with skills and things and talents.
We don't have talents. We don't have skills.
We can't even play fucking games right.
We're sitting in queue just like the game is telling us to.
Yeah. That's patience is a talent.
Patience is a virtue and a
not
talent.
Everyone has it.
It's not a talent, it's a skill. It's developed.
Get Donkey on the podcast. That might be the one person that talk less than me.
Yeah.
I don't even know if
I want to get Donkey on there and ask him if that cuck video is real.
He would fucking leave. He
I gotta know. Is that real? You
leave.
into that cuck shit? Come on, bro. Come on.
You
wouldn't leave. He would tell us. What if he was just like, hell yeah, that's fucking real? Hell yes, it is. That's real as fuck, dude.
And I love it. And I love
it. About it. That video, I had forgotten about that video, but it's left such an imprint on me that like anytime I see anything donkey related, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Going, yeah, come on, sing it.
Yes, say thank you.
Sir Pello. Can I? Let me hear it. Let me hear his voice. You said his voice is funny. Here, most replayed.
Dark and Darker servers are up? Oh, shit.
Which one? Which one's him? I'm not gonna just listen to somebody else's podcast on here, okay? I know it's dying because we're in queue for 7 minutes, but this is now I'm on
a 10-minute one.
Yeah. I think I know which one was Sir Pello, and
Wait, didn't they get sued?
Who got sued?
You know who'd be a good podcast guest? And isn't just like like an e-celebrity I'd want to meet. Chud.
Kevin Spacey, somebody said.
I think Chud might be funny in podcast world.
I haven't heard that name in years.
Me either, honestly.
It's been so long since we hung out with him. Dude, that guy is like in college now and shit. And like probably graduated college because I think he was like
he's probably a man now. I wonder what man Chud is up to.
What if he
and
just
what's
turned
funny
into a total Chad? Like he's like
Chud went to Chad.
Yeah.
What's funny is his name was Chud before Chud is now like
Chud was a thing.
Chud is a term now. People go like, "Oh, what a fucking
yeah."
Chud.
He capitalized on that. If he should have made more usernames with it because he could probably sell that shit now.
Yeah.
You know.
What's funny is that his inspiration for the name is the old movie. There's an old movie called Cannibalistic Human Underground Dwellers, Chud for short. And that's where it was like some movie he grew up watching. It was like a shitty horror movie.
Which explains why he's like the way he is. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
6 minutes. This is the most awesome. I swear to God, it's been at 7 minutes for 20 minutes, and now it's saying 6 minutes. What is happening? This is awesome. I think we've been in queue longer than we've been playing.
I think so, yeah. But this is it's like a bonding moment a little bit.
It is. It's just like.
But we're gonna get all our talk out before. I think we have a podcast later this week.
Yeah, it's Thursday, right?
Yeah, so stop talking to me, all right? You're fucking me up. Right?
I gotta zip this up.
Yeah, zip this up.
Dude, I seriously think, and I really think it would be funny to have a podcast where it was like this. Like it's just you have people in chat fucking asking questions and shit.
A live podcast?
Not live on Twitch, but like in the Discord. Fucking breathe some life in that fucking dead piece of shit. And
Yeah.
like have a chat, like have a specific chat just for podcasts, and then we just delete it afterwards.
Yeah, you know what I feel like doing? This is horrible. This is and it'll ruin some social connection there. But I feel like taking my big goddamn admin sniper and lining up shots on the heads of state that are in that Discord.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, like they can have their room or whatever, but role's gone.
I just
for
hear it at
all the
mods.
moderators, clean slate. We're getting new blood.
There was a guy in chat the other day even that was just he pretends to be the community leader of the fucking Discord, and he's been scamming people like into like paying for mod, and I can't believe people are falling for that shit. Like there are some people that really need to be reprimanded though. We do need some mods. We do need some fucking mods in there.
With that guy that's selling mod, we should make him a mod. He seems like he's got a go-getter attitude.
Yeah, he's got the selling mod attitude.
Yeah. And we get him, he'll run the thing.
That would drive
Do you even
some
get
people
paid to
insane.
mod Discord? No, there is no
That shit's
pay.
free.
Are you kidding
How,
me?
how about the pay of knowing you did a good job? How about that?
Yeah. No,
It's
I
like
just
Reddit mods.
more than anything, like it's had a stagnation of like there's the same people that are in moderator positions, and they're so fucking tired of the Discord that they're not even like active within. They've like settled. You know what I mean? They're not socializing anymore. They've just found the people they like, which is cool. They found their group of friends on the Discord, but they just talk to them. And so this is a problem with society itself, dude. There's something called class stagnation, I believe, or it's like you're not able to move in that Discord anymore. Like if you got into, let's say, Rat Room or the Rat Roll or whatever, your ability to climb into different rooms and roles is like slim to none. Like you're not going to be able to do anything in there right now.
Yeah, what he said, double.
Yeah.
Somebody said to put Corey Spaz Kid, and he draws porn, so he'd fit right at home.
Oh.
I don't know if that guy does podcasts, but yeah, sure. Or and somebody else wanted us to just make fun of Steve. I think that'd be hilarious if I don't know how you get him to do it, but have Steve in the live podcast and then just have people just say insane shit to him. I don't know if he'd have the stomach for that though. He wouldn't even.
Nah, he's not one to play along. Yeah, he doesn't play along with much.
Like the
He's
Discord equivalent of like just the stockades getting tomatoes thrown at you. I'm in game,
Yeah.
by the way.
I am too. I'm looking at that red scroll. I never got to pick it up, but it's telling me I need to go elsewhere now. So I guess
I'm gonna request to join you.
no. I'm running this solo. Yeah, come on. Is there a what do I hit for my
Big boners.
the socials and map? There we go. Quests. Tarnished luster.
Yeah,
Travel
no,
to
Discord is hella dead. We need like a crack team of just people that actually want to just be mods on there.
No,
and, like,
we
actually
need
do
people
things
like
and make
Kalar, and we
random
need people
shit.
like Steve out of positions of power because they are
I don't think they
by
do that.
nature exclusive folks. They do not like other people having fun. They don't like other people smiling in their own private lives. And it's
Happiness
detrimental.
Gone.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I should be going this way or this way. I'm going southeast. I'm going to Yelesna.
Wait.
Hire a
Swiss,
Discord
I
consultant.
did invite you.
No.
I fucking deadass tried to invite you and you didn't join. Here, I'll do it again. Watch. I'll do it right now. Oh, no, not the shop. Get the fuck away from me. He won't let me. Sam, you gotta do it.
Do what?
This player's already in a party. That's why I couldn't invite him. And then I found out later because Steve had you in there. That's why.
Okay, we're cooking. Oh, I never sold it. It doesn't matter.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
sell that
See?
shit later.
Oh yeah. He's not making shit up. This is a real one. Where the fuck are you? I didn't see you.
I went southeast.
What is this?
Okay.
I found an exorcist cache.
Wait, what's your current quest right now?
It is Tarnished Luster. I'm traveling to Yelesna.
What?
I'm traveling to Yelesna.
Oh, that's you. You're the little blue dot. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. You want me to throw up a TP for you?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Homie want a TP?
Yeah, yeah. Homie wants a TP.
Wait, I made it and it made me go through it. I can't just throw one up for you?
No, did you go through it?
It makes you go through it.
Yeah, and I can go through it.
Okay.
It's
Well,
just
go.
like the. Just
Did
like
you go through?
All right, it doesn't work.
You didn't take mine. You took
I
somebody else's.
tried. It just warped me to you, right? Yeah. Look at this.
Oh, well, let me go back through. Now you go through.
Okay. No.
No?
How much was this game again? I can't remember. I
You
forget.
can't take it now? This is fucking late.
I'll just run to you. I don't give a shit. I'll just run to you.
Do I have drops? I didn't know there's drops for this game. I do not have drops. And clarify right now.
Are there
All right.
drops? Is that even a thing people can have?
Yeah, I think there's probably drops or some shit. I do not have them activated. If you're looking for drops from the stream, it ain't gonna happen.
Don't even fucking ask me, because obviously
don't-
not. All right?
Yeah, I'm not. I did not realize that this game even had those.
Somebody asked that as a joke in mine. I mean, obviously they were just lying, but you know. Is that a thing? I bet you Aqua has it. You know.
Quick,
playing that shit like
enable
every day.
drops. Yeah, I don't even know how. I don't even.
You don't have drops. There's no way. I think.
No,
like,
it's like an
email.
enable thing now.
Really?
Yeah, it's like
Oh, because you're like partnered or something
it's some bullshit like in the settings or
on
whatever.
Twitch.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
badass. You can
I mean,
just
you
see
should.
like
Why not? I don't even know what the hell Diablo drops would be.
probably loot in game, probably the drops from the game.
Awesome. Imagine getting
Yeah.
loot while playing and watching. That'd be awesome.
Oh, this is like the original Rogue Encampment Wilderness theme. I just heard. That's what's called an audible motif. I heard it. I'm cranking up the sound on this.
How do I get to your ass? Oh, okay, you're like this way.
Oh, go to my creator dashboard under viewer rewards, select drops.
Oh my god, you're not doing that?
I'll do it on my phone.
Oh my god. Futures now, man.
Under my dashboard, I go to
Spiked armor? What the fuck?
rewards.
That's lame as fuck. What is this? Increase
Oh,
the damage.
you lost
of
me.
what?
Are you here yet? I'm just gonna wait here until you get here.
This one. Huh?
Okay, this guy said creator dashboard.
Here I'm
And
coming.
then
Beetlejuice on the pod. Beetlejuice, the little guy, little fucking black guy that like has brain damage or something.
viewer rewards, drops, enable drops.
That guy is like suddenly getting popular again. I feel like his
Who?
Beetlejuice. You know the guy that he would be on like Howard Stern's thing.
Oh
They would, like, ask
yeah,
him questions and they would just be insanely wrong.
yeah. There's drops for
And
wait
he, like,
week 2
plays
sorcerer Monday
the-
June 12th
Wait, what?
to June 19th. This is June 5th. Okay.
Ah,
About
ghouls.
this drop.
Get these ghouls away from me. I
Connect. All right, you guys are making me log into my goddamn BattleNet account, but I'll do it because I love you guys. Do it because
I'm here, man.
hold on.
This is
I have to connect my Twitch account.
Don't worry, I got the squad here to defend you.
Okay. Sweet.
You should kite some mobs. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Nah, it's fine.
Connected.
I can't right now. These skeletons. Can I dismiss the skeletons? You guys are too powerful.
Shut up.
Oh,
I
that
thought
was
it
a
just-
pretty good Smosh impression.
Yeah, sorry. It just like auto played Shroud as soon as I got in there.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. It's connected. You're good. It should work. Hey,
Nice.
yo, you're letting me freaking die, dude.
Somebody double dog dare me to do that. I had to. I'm not a bitch.
I don't know. Maybe I might need to restart stream. Do you think I should restart it?
The stream? Yeah, not the game though. Fuck that. Not
No,
worth it.
not
Not
the
after what you
game.
just went through.
Yeah. Oh, this guy says it worked. Okay, we're good. Okay, so now this is drop stream. That's why I'm streaming tonight, guys. I'm a huge fan
These
of the drops.
And yes, you heard it correctly. The biggest donations get the better drops.
Yep.
That is a fact. Go ahead and max out that credit card to Sam's channel.
Yeah. But once again, I prefer precious metals,
Boats.
Conflicts.
No, not boats. Sorry.
conflict gems, stuff like that.
Rare artifacts that were stolen from a
Yeah,
country.
heirlooms.
Probably. Nobody cares about this dialogue, right, guys? Fuck this shit.
Can't you see I'm busy?
Oh, we unlocked the new town. Look at that.
The nights are not preferred.
This town's ours now.
Shout
Now we
out to
can go
71K
between
viewers, and I've
towns.
never found another. Oh, that's not nice, dude. I've never seen Shroud ever.
You know what? I have nothing against Shroud except for he has the chair that I want, and it doesn't look like it's ever been sat in, and it pisses me off.
Or maybe it's just because he's not overweight as fuck. He doesn't like.
Well, what? He just sits on it like a fucking leaf? Fuck you.
Yeah.
No. If you have that chair, you should just slap your ass down into it. Stomp that ass down into it.
I want there to be a hole where I fucking fart all the time.
Yeah.
Burn a hole in
I
my
want to
shit.
see a streak of shit from where he's just been sitting in there so comfortable, shit comes out of his ass onto the
Yeah,
chair.
like liquid shit comes out of his
Yeah.
he's moved.
I want to see a
Dave.
puddle of diarrhea under this chair. That's how I know he's loved it.
He's been in there so long, his asshole is literally atrophied, and it just slides out.
Yeah.
He looks like the guys from Wall-E.
I'm already
That's what I want.
Yeah.
Or else send that fucking chair back.
Yeah. Wasted his fucking money. Okay, this what my decompose I don't think is that good, but that's just me.
Somebody said no, that's a lie. Somebody said that it was good. You're gonna,
Yeah, but I think they lied to my face is really what they did.
I mean, the one guy sabotaged the game by like making you leave. So I don't know.
I'll take
That was
I'm starting to feel like these people don't have our best interests at heart.
not over here, dude.
Hi,
There's
Sam.
like the
It's
300
nice to
Spartans in
finally
here,
catch a live
54
stream.
Spartans.
Suck a
Yeah.
fart, corporate pig.
All loyal soldiers.
Fiendish folio. Hold on. I just heard TTS in my ear.
Ghoul hearts. Why do I need these?
Oh, thanks for the resub, man.
Good deal. Father boys.
Guys, you know you can watch it for free. You don't need
Wait.
a resub, you know?
Yeah.
Stay on your
Now, actually,
It's
each
free.
sub lets you watch it better. Watch it
Dude,
real
I'm telling
good.
you, Twitch is like maybe 2 years away from like subs getting to watch in 1080p and like regular people don't.
Yeah.
I can see it happening. I don't even want to speak it into existence, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened.
Actually, I think in the future we're also just gonna call the regular people the
oh, Blue
subs.
Goblin!
Oh wait, where are you at? That's
I'm
too
over
far.
here.
I can't get over there. I won't fuck with that.
That was the worst Luke Goblin ever. He's gone already, I think.
All right. I think
fish are biting today.
I'm already at full health. I'm trying to figure out how to get to my thing. All right, let's see. Are you doing a cold and iron faith? The Knight and the Magpie? Are you doing that? It's like the main campaign.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, for sure, he says.
I'll just do whatever. I think I'm in your party, so I have to do your quests anyways. And we're on the same story.
That's right. You must do what I say.
Oh, I missed it. I missed the epic Luke Goblin.
Hey, what do I need the ghoul hearts for? Do you know?
I think it's just an event that we're doing by accident.
Okay.
I need more essence. My guy does not sound like a good guy.
This guy just had like the best like Scrooge message in chat. He says, "You there, boy? Gift me a sub and then run down to O'Malley's shop and buy me that large goose." He said.
More
fuck, dude?
strangers.
That's what it's
Yeah,
like
rocks.
being subbed to a big name.
We need to bring back Victorian era style and speech and everything, but with the modern day amenities of the internet. I think it'd be awesome.
Oh shit.
I was sent.
All right, I'm gonna butcher this, but I'm assuming your name is Cram Slam. Oh my god. Wait, I've seen you before. I recognize the name. You've been subbed to 8 months because you're a psychopath.
Strode right past where you stand.
And I think you told me how to pronounce it. I fuck it up
With
every
her.
time.
You let my mother through, sir. Shouldn't you be
Sorry.
responsible for her safety?
We have soldiers stationed inside.
You should be worried about them too.
I failed you. But I can't read, so.
Maybe you can help me.
No, it's not called caramel.
I just like pulled a sword as she was walking up on me. Are you in here with me?
No.
Are you at the
I'm like-
Magpie place? Come on, dude. Night in the
Okay, I've been
Magpie.
already.
This is the Magpie. Is this Asian lady?
Damn, how much of the shrooms thing
She did.
ended up being on like a
The
video
horned woman.
to reminisce
The
on?
demon Lilith.
I'm actually kind of butthurt that my descent into madness was not.
It wasn't recorded.
It wasn't recorded.
It was something to behold, honestly.
Yeah, it was. That was a wild time. But by the time I was calmed down enough to hold a camera, that's when you started your Shazam thing. And so we have some footage from the very beginning, and then I just completely broke down into a separate.
Let's get this over.
Like my mind just melted for a little while, and then when I came back to is when we were back in the tent, and then you started on your Shazam rant, I think, and I
It's please.
Kazam,
It's
yeah,
please.
Kazam, and I
That was the
recorded.
last time you came back too. That was like at the end of the
That was like 40 minutes of like straight recording I did on that.
Damn hoist is
I was like,
No, like came back to, in other words, like coherent enough to be able to hold a camera. Which, by the way, Poob's rendition of like he looks over and he's like, I look dead and like horrified, but I'm holding onto the camera like it's like some sort of Gollum way. Like I'm like holding onto it, laying down.
when I let her and her friend.
I wasn't exactly with it, but with it enough to record. Ooh, armor stand. All right. By the way, do you have any?
I'm like lost.
Yeah,
this
wait. This damage 98 points. Consume a corpse
Stoltz-
generates 2 essence.
Stoltz says sword on purpose. That's not even him being like stupid. Like he just says it like that because he likes it.
Yeah,
He took that word back.
he makes an effort to do it for sure.
Are you guys still pissing off Bill on a regular? We don't piss him off. All right, never, never, ever, never.
Either that or he stays mad at us, and we just don't know any better.
Yeah, we're completely dumbfounded because we don't pay attention. We're emotionally stunted. I don't know why. I don't know how that happened, but
We should go back. Round up the knights.
And leave my mother in
Bad
Lilith's
listeners.
care for as long as that will
yeah,
I'm going on.
I subconsciously just choose not to listen to things that are not jokes or video games. It's my fault.
What does it mean when someone has the chain broken above their head, like that red guy has right now?
It means they're free.
They're unchained, untethered.
I don't know. It's probably like vulnerable. I'd assume. I don't know.
Well, why?
Maybe,
He was
maybe they're
just.
slowed. They might be slowed.
Wait, which direction are we going?
Oh my god.
Like, where the hell? I think you're just going back. You went the
This-
wrong way.
This
Like
is
they.
the wrong way.
I think
Oh.
so. That's the way we came, right?
I can't.
I'm not
Oh,
ready.
hey, you can hit space and kind of dash forward. I didn't know that. Oh wait, we have this door here.
You guys are
and
talking
they-
like This was a fucking
No lift.
child we're
The
stealing
jam
away.
must
I'm
be
glad they
down.
stole him from Sir Winter. Dude, what the hell?
Yeah.
We didn't
wait.
steal anybody, alright?
Oh, there we
What are
go.
you doing? Wait, how did you do that? You fucking disappeared.
I need my
Oh.
You
Alright.
you did that.
Over here. I can
Oh,
You-
I
you,
did
like
that?
initiated the thing.
Yeah, you like
And
warped
there
2
she
inches
goes.
away from me.
Enemies
Vampire
approaching.
bats.
Nowhere to go.
When do I get more skeletons? How many do you have?
I have 4.
Yeah, I just have the 4 too. I want to have like 68. When do I
When
get
I
'em?
was, well, back when the beta was going, you get like insane drops, and like, you get like legendaries that give you more and stuff, or rares.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. I realized that the drops are fucking weak.
That's what I'm saying. We need 4 people in here to increase
Yeah.
the drop rate. That's what I'm
Weak.
saying. I'd take even randoms. Is there a way to just open up the game?
The
lobby?
room?
Yeah.
Whoa, magic pants! Magic pants! You gave me insane dexterity. I don't even need that. They're magic.
That was
Hearing Young Poob and Sam's old recipes. Wow. That Poob was a different man, dude.
Yeah.
He used to say the N-word. Alright, even he's
would
not
your mother
unfallible.
leave you like that.
She wouldn't. Or she shouldn't have. I'm sure she had good reason.
Your skeleton just ate shit. You see that?
Nah, you die.
Nah, he got back up.
Lack the
He's up. He's alright.
It's like a toddler, you know, when they fall over. They just, you know, as long as you don't react, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I'm trying to appeal to Sam's fatherhood. You know, I know he appreciates a good dad reference. You know?
I love a good. I could talk about being
How
a
about them
dad
kids,
all
right?
day. Yeah.
Wow.
I just
Hardest
know
job's
nobody.
being a mom, huh? What about being a dad? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a thankless profession. I swear.
It really is. Especially
Yeah.
the daughters, like, oh my god.
Only man in this house, and everybody gives me shit. Come on, dude. Come on.
It's like working retail 24/7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bunch of Karens walking around.
What was that show? Married with Kids. You know that
Yeah,
show?
yeah.
Where the guy works at a goddamn shoe store or something.
Yeah,
That's
it's
like a
weird.
ladies'
That's such
shoe
a-
store.
That's such a weird fucking.
You
job
know
for a
he's
guy.
fucking homeless now. Like there's no way he still that job doesn't exist anymore. But that
A
show
ladies'
rocked.
shoes. They would not. Yeah, a good old American beer drinking, like fucking misogynist guy, borderline misogynist guy, selling shoes to women.
Well,
Yeah.
not just that, but like
Or
you
just in
can't
general, I mean.
have a house with 3 kids.
Oh no.
2-story house with 3 kids and a stay-at-home wife selling shoes.
That show's
you
old as
kidding me?
shit. That
Yeah,
show's
but I mean, like
fucking
those,
fuck.
like his job was definitely just given off to like a high schooler.
Oh yeah.
5 years after that show got canceled. I'd be Scythe. I'll take it.
He's not a real shoe guy.
I know, but like
He's a-
if that show
That's how the
kept
show
going,
died.
like it
That's
would
the
just
series
be
finale.
so insanely unrealistic. Yeah. Yeah, the shoe store's getting modernized. We have like, we have a online store. Al, you have to go home. We're
Ah,
not.
we don't need
You're
you.
fired. Yeah.
The days of being a shoe bitch is over. I'm sure he would have became manager of the shoe store. You know, maybe
Maybe.
at that point.
Does he deserve happiness though?
No, he's mean to women.
I'm not dying
sometimes,
here.
for fun.
Over there.
I don't think he was mean to him. I think he was worn down by them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh man, Impish, you lost your homeboy to a girl aggro, job aggro. That's fucked up. You know what you gotta do? You gotta get her to. You gotta get that girl to dump your buddy and get him fired. Get the good old days back. You know what I mean?
Wait, how old is this guy?
How old are you?
That statue. It's her.
Get her.
The way I saw her.
Lilith.
We need.
You guys keep up with Bumbo? No. Bumble kind of got like soft Me Too'd by his own girlfriend, and then then he disappeared. And we never heard from him. Well, I think he tried to reach out to Sam, but me and him weren't very close. So I didn't talk about that.
Yeah. He reached out to me and then was like, "You want to like play games or whatever?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't play games a whole lot anymore."
Yeah, I don't know. Like games, not a fan anymore. I don't know what's going on with games.
We have to go this way. I wonder.
Oh shit.
Oh yeah, nuclear technician average salary is 105K. So Homer Simpson could still have his house and 3 kids. Yeah, he's probably doing just fine.
Hey, that guy. Hey, I'm glad you told me you're 26, but you're not the guy. But that's cool to know, dude. Hey, that's fucking cool.
Yeah, the guy, the one.
See, this man has been everywhere. He got the poster. He lost his friend to a girl.
Because if he's complaining that his friend got a job and a girl and he's like mid-20s, it's like, dude, fucking let it go. Like
he's 21. He's 21.
Oh, he's 21. Yeah, your
fair.
friend's like starting his life though. I feel like if you guys aren't in college, like, you know, hop off your homie's dick. He's trying to like live life. You know, so what? He's got an actual job, and he's got a girl. At 21, yeah, he's like trying to see if he wants to get his fucking life together. Make the ore hoist operational. How?
The what?
Ore hoist.
It's got a big check mark. I mean, we did it already.
Yeah, I tried to dislodge the guy in there.
Did this shit break again?
Oh, do I have to talk to her?
Yeah,
No?
talk to her.
Do I have to talk to
Yes, I
him?
did. Talk to him.
I think we have to go this way. I think we have to go this way.
What happened?
Wait.
Who's that for? Fart in a bag and stomp on it. Is that for me? Are you telling me to do that?
We need reinforcements.
No.
Oh, there you go. You
Shut
fixed
up.
it.
Yeah, we had to wait for him, apparently. It was like a loading issue.
I ain't upset. I just missed my best friend for 10 minutes. That's A. I feel that.
Yeah. No sympathy from us.
Yeah.
Get your fucking life together.
Yeah, I'm just pretending. I don't know what that's
Yeah.
like. I still got my bros from 10 years ago sitting right next to me virtually.
Yeah, tell your fucking friend to get Discord and tell him, like, you know, a couple times a week he should still game. But no, you're not gonna, like, that's unrealistic for you to
And
think
wait
you're
till he
gonna
gets
be
a kid.
gaming hours a day forever with your homie.
You get a kid, that's it.
It's over, yeah.
You might as well just kill him and his whole family.
My
lost him.
My gaming is relegated to after 9 p.m.
Yeah, before Sam used to fucking shit and piss himself for 12 hours playing fucking Arma.
Yeah.
All right. AZ mod. Now look at him. Where the fuck am I?
I don't know. Why did it make us do that elevator if it served no purpose?
Oh, I think I know. We were supposed to go down here. I think.
I wish I could corpse explode this guy that's like halfway dead. There's like a friendly soldier like oh on the floor.
Where?
Go back down that stupid elevator we fixed that we didn't even have to go up, and then you walk into this room. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Here you go. Like, why did they make us fix that? What the hell? Oh, it's for the reinforcements. Fuck off.
Jesus Christ.
You coming, Brian?
The guy lost a guy. He had a friend in his friend group leave because they were joking about taking some other guy's mom to a furry convention. There must have been more to that. He must have said some insane shit like.
Not just that, but you probably like it was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. Like if you guys just suck. Sometimes like I'll be in Discord and I'll just be listening to the conversation for like 20 minutes and I'll realize like this is just the least amount of fun and I don't even like this conversation and I just leave. And maybe that was his wake up call that you guys just really weren't his vibe.
Shit.
Like the
Wait, North Axis, but you waited until there was a mod in the chat to
The
fucking...
other woman, Venard.
I'm just
Alright.
skipping through this.
I'm done for.
I do. Hey, thanks for the sub though.
Your mother
Hey,
told
homeboy.
me.
She bribed, but it's
Not by me.
You're
There's nothing.
I don't fucking care. Can corpse explode this guy now?
Bye, Volta.
No, I can't.
I'm at the top of the bit though. Wait, what did you do? How much bits did you give? Like 100? Somebody
the
give
jump,
101
Brian.
beat him. Oh, this
Brian,
guy's
make the
dying.
jump.
Okay, yeah, fine. I'll just. I guess I don't get to watch his dramatic moment.
No.
All right.
He was milking it, dude.
Lilith can't be too far.
We act like this lady acts like we're just gonna find Lilith down here and beat her ass. She's like a god, isn't she? The fuck are we gonna do?
What is this?
This guy says he subbed to Poob a week ago and he hasn't streamed once since then. That's his main squeeze, dude. He should be streaming more often.
Who? Who should be streaming more often?
Mind races.
Poob.
Yes.
Wasn't he streaming Diablo?
I don't know. Yeah, he streams pretty often. I don't know what you're talking about. He streams way more
He's
than
a
any of
working
us.
boy.
Yeah.
Daughter.
Oh yeah, he streamed yesterday.
Oh man.
He's been pretty consistent on it.
What you seek. You hunger.
Real money that I dude, I don't buy
You
drugs.
dragged your child all
I'm
over
clean.
sanctuary in pursuit of it.
Are you watching this
No,
cutscene by the way?
I taught her how to survive.
I kind of am, and I'm kind of looking at chat.
That's what I'm doing.
Cause I saw Stalt was in here. Hey, Stalt.
You have
Yeah.
questions. I
Dude, don't fuck you, stop close out. We don't need to hear your backseat gaming. You played this shit a week ago.
Yeah, he's probably backseat gaming as fuck.
Everything.
Like, oh, Jesus Christ, he took decompose. Jesus Christ, dude.
He's a decomposed guy.
God. Show us your drip.
I got a green shirt on, Stalt. Is that good enough for you?
Too cool for that.
Brian, are you even helping?
Dude, I thought we were watching the cutscene.
Are you even helping, dude?
Okay, you gotta give me a fucking warning.
I just feel like this is a one-man show. Dude.
There you
No,
go,
you're doing great, dude. You're doing awesome. I didn't need your help, really.
After I came in and whooped their asses.
I was kind of doing fine. There's so many people asking me for like what's this called? Like a review of the fucking game.
Charge back the sub. You can't.
I've played it for like 5 minutes, dude. I have no idea what the.
We played it. We've been playing this since 9, and then we streamed it at 10.
Yeah, we spent most of our time in a queue. Not only that, I have a very skewed perception of this game. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, because it's not D2. You're gonna say it's
No-
bad or something.
Yeah, and I just spent so much of my life playing Diablo that like I can never. The gameplay loop is so similar to D2 that I'm just gonna quickly get bored of this. So it's like if you never played Diablo back in the day, then yeah, you might love it. Might be your
missed out.
favorite game. But I played so much Diablo 2, like what the hell?
Last time I played Diablo was like 10 years ago, so to me it's like still pretty cool. But I know what you mean also. I played a lot of Borderlands, and I cannot play that shit again because it's.
Dude, if they came out with a brand new Borderlands, I don't think I could.
Yeah.
Oh, they have? I don't think I
Yeah.
could play it.
Oh shit! I got a new skill.
Yeah.
What's the name?
Yeah, D2 was insano tier. It wasn't god tier, it was insano tier. I'm gonna keep doing corpse explosion, I think.
Skeletal mage. How do I get a skeletal mage?
Wait, where did you unlock that at?
Holy shit on a stick, dude. There's like the Book of the Dead. Nobody told me this
Where? What?
in the tabs. There's
Where?
oh my god.
Where?
But go to your character sheet and fucking look
Book
at
of the
the
Dead.
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell? How do you get these?
Oh fucking god, no one told me about this. Why not? No, oh shit! I just killed all my guys.
Oh, what are reapers? Skirmishers, defenders.
What is this?
Wields a powerful scythe that has a special wind-up
Oh,
attack.
what the fuck?
Hmm.
One additional skeletal warrior, taking that. That sounds awesome. Okay, it wasn't that big of a fucking difference. I got like a little upgrade, but Borderlands movie's coming out next. That's not real. Is that real?
A Borderlands movie? Hmm.
Would you watch that?
Okay.
Anyway, before I got distracted, what is this? Is this footprint? Distant enemies? No.
Alright, now I got 5 homies.
What is all this shit? Yeah, that's what I have.
Search
In
for a
theory.
way deeper into Kusama.
What's good to take from here? Iron Maiden? Like, what is this shit? Equipify?
Wait, did you level up again without me?
Ooh, actually, okay, I'm gonna go up this path. What do you mean?
There.
I have yet to level up.
Wait, that took away my, like, raise the dead skill? Are you shitting me?
Wait.
Hold on.
Wait.
How do I, like, undo that?
Apparently, the Borderlands movie is supposed to have Kevin Hart as Roland. There's no way. There's no fucking way. Is that real?
I don't know. I didn't even know there was a movie until 3 seconds ago. Chevy Chase is playing Handsome Jack. I fucking wish. Isn't Chevy Chase like a fucking asshole?
And he's like 90 years old. Like he's so fucking old.
He's like ancient. Yeah, he was like.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Is he still in Community? Didn't Community have like a season?
What?
Like recently?
Like, I don't know.
Dude, hey, that's fine with. Hey, I don't hate you for the Elden Ring password. That's not a big deal. We fix that in 3 seconds.
I think we're about to get into a fight with Lilith once you get in here, Brian. Since you're just standing.
Oh, we're not gonna be in a fight with. She's like the mega boss, isn't she?
Yeah, we're about to beat Diablo right here. This is it.
This is it. This is the one that we end the stream on.
Yep,
This is Diablo.
This is Diablo.
I don't care what anyone says. This is Diablo.
You can tell by the horns.
Yes.
Do you have faith in me?
What does Millionaire Club actually do? Well, I can't tell you that. Somebody has to redeem it.
Rathma.
He is the
Sounds like they're searching for Lilith's.
Oh, actually, we don't fight. We just move on. That looked like a boss room, didn't it?
Yeah. Are you serious? It's not a boss?
Yeah.
Ooh. I level up though. Okay, yeah, you're right. It was VIP. So what's a Chuck Berry? Isn't Chuck Berry the one that's like into shitting on people and stuff?
He like farted on a prostitute's face. Yeah. Chuck Berry fucking rocks.
Is that now called the Chuck Berry? Yeah, I'll do that. I'll fart in your face.
Yeah.
While you're eating my asshole. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. I feel like he was so ahead of the curve there, by the way. Getting your ass eaten in like, what was that, like the early 80s or the fucking 70s when that happened? Like,
That's how you know you didn't give a shit. You know?
yeah, dude, that's like a...
Man, nobody wants a Sigma male.
The problem is, like, those people, those dudes from, like, that era were a level of celebrity that isn't, it's just not possible nowadays. Like, yeah, entertainment's so fractured now. Like, one person's, like, celebrity is not another person's celebrity. But back in the day,
Because of the
everybody
internet.
knew, yeah, the internet. Like, it's so easy to get into stuff. Back in the day, you just turned on the radio. It's like, what am I listening to? Oh, I'm listening to Chuck Berry. He's the guy right now.
That's the shit,
Or
man.
Elvis, yeah, Elvis is like...
Chocolate Chuck.
Like, there's never going to be a celebrity the size of, like, Michael Jackson again. He was, like, the last one that was that fucking big.
Once we get like a Hitler,
Yeah, like, unless there's, like, Hitler 2 or something. But I'm
yeah.
saying like the level of fandom where people see them and like faint, you know, like they pass out at their concerts and shit.
People do that with like Justin Bieber, don't they?
I don't think so.
All right.
They might. They might.
People still faint. I think that. But I know what you mean. There's nobody that's like mega huge. Like there's very rarely any household names. I guess, you know.
Yeah.
And it's because of the internet. Because now we've kind of broken up into small micro fandoms. There's everything for everybody. That's why shitting on yourself is cool.
Yep.
Because there's a whole community of people now that love it.
Yeah, the internet's crazy because you can normalize fucking anything. The most degenerate behavior can be normalized in like 2 seconds. Because you can just find kindred spirits. You know, back in the day, if you were living in a village or whatever, and you just bring it up, like, anybody else like getting their ass eaten?
Yeah,
they would be like, we're gonna fucking kill this guy. Don't come to church anymore.
Amish boy fucking drawing Sonic fart porn. You would not get away with that shit.
Nah,
right?
dude, you would have gotten your ass beaten. But with the internet, yeah, you can find other people that are into that. It's a wonderful world.
It's fucking great, dude.
Yeah.
Now I can't feel alone.
And what's funny is if you feel alone in this day and age, that means you're real fucking weird. If you were unable to find human connection, but the amount of connection that's available.
That lost his friend to a girlfriend at a job.
Yeah, go find a new fucking person. There's billions of people out there. We were just complaining like a couple years ago. Oh, we're at 7 billion people. It's too many. Well, we just passed 8 billion. All right, there's more people every day. You should be able to find at least somebody to hang out with. Even, you know, more so if you're normal.
Normie.
Look, this is Diablo. This is her.
It. Ooh, I just completely missed that shot. What is this? Get soft.
We're doing it.
Oh, we killed Diablo?
Yep. Diablo is dead. Door's still locked. Hold on.
Oh,
there she is again. Gulp.
Which was interrupting my fucking level up session, right?
Oh wait, you leveling?
Yeah. Wait.
How do you? Like, what's the what button do you hit to do that? Seriously. Seriously.
What?
What button do you hit to level up?
A button.
A?
It
Okay,
goes
there we go.
A, level up.
A, okay, I don't have any available points. I haven't leveled up. I'm an idiot.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little higher level because I did your quest and mine twice or whatever. You know how
I love how like the civilians of this game, like just the normal people, when you walk into a town, they immediately like rush to you and go like, "Can you help us? There's evil here." I'm like, my guy is bone ass white and he's got like blood tattoos all over him. He's got yeah, he's got 5 skeletons in tow. You know, I look evil as hell. And people are like, "Thank God you're here." There's like demons and shit. You would think they would see me and be like, "Holy fuck, another evil guy." I definitely do not look like a good guy.
Dude, I'm a fucking goth, man.
In fact, same could be said for basically every class from the from Diablo, like any of the Diablo games, except for the Paladin. He's the only guy that looks like,
everybody, except the Witch Doctor and 3, everyone kind of looks normal in that, right?
Oh yeah, no, Demon Hunter looks like a guy that is gonna pickpocket you. I definitely wouldn't be asking him for help. He had his hood all pulled up.
Well, Blizzard teaches you life lessons like fucking. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah, he's not Trayvon. He is a demon hunter. Just because he has his hood.
Is Trayvon the demon hunter name?
No, I was trying to think. I was trying to equate like people were like, Trayvon, he had his hood up, therefore he deserved to get shot. Remember all those people? Yeah. But Blizzard's like, hey, you know, we'll get this guy. Well, he's the good guy, and he has a little hood too.
And also a new character is Overwatch. We are just taking strides.
Are they?
They
Wait,
made-
wasn't that obviously lesbian character in Overwatch? Wasn't she lesbian? Or am I crazy?
Obviously lesbian one.
Yeah, you know the big lesbian lady.
Lesbiana. Are you talking about the pink
Big
haired
macho lady. Yeah.
I don't know. I think she's straight as fuck apparently.
Really? All right.
Gotta start stroking a parasocial relationship with us like Poog does. Oh no, Poog, yeah, but Poog is like Poog is seriously he's a podcast away from becoming a cult leader. If it wasn't for the podcast, he'd be like the next fucking like Jim Jones. All right. That man feeds off of other people's love and adoration.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Nah, he's a much more social creature than we are.
No, cult leader. If you're more social than us, you're a cult leader. In training. We gotta stop making him sound like a demon. I guess I'm the only one doing that.
Huh? Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun to fuck around. Oh, try to enrage the tainted succubus.
That's me, dude.
Yeah, dude.
But Chug has enraged the taint.
And I would I'd kill for something that isn't a magic level drop. I want like a
Yeah, I want like a yellow. I want like a orange. I don't know, like, I think Stalt told me there's like a new grade of weapon. It goes up to like gold. There's like orange and then there's also gold.
They always had gold.
No, gold was, I don't think they had orange and gold. It used to just be yellow, blue, and green was set, and then the goldish color. Oh my god, that almost fucking killed me. And then the gold ones were the legendaries.
Ah. And then green, right? The sets.
Yeah, those were the sets. Which, honestly, most sets really sucked in Diablo. Were they good in Diablo 3? Were they like the shit? I think people really went after sets on that game, didn't they?
In the DLC, I remember the DLC had like insane set builds. Like, absurd.
It always seemed like such a pain in the ass to sit there and collect. There were some that I collected, you know, like everybody had their Saigons that they kept passing around to new characters, but I was never like an Immortal Kings guy. Oh shit, that would just like, some people lived on that shit. They loved that set. Because you could use it on barbarians and sorceresses, but never not my jam.
I didn't have a PC really around that time.
Oh, really?
And then when I did, I played RuneScape on dial-up internet.
Dude, I was never a RuneScape kid. I feel like I missed out on that. A lot of people say like, oh, just get into it now. I'm like, really? I mean, like, should I?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I feel like
It's very much nostalgia.
Yeah, I feel like it's too late.
I don't think there's anybody I know that like got into it now in like the year 2020 or something. Or like
a lot of people still play OSRS a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like it is I think growing community. I don't know.
It's the real one.
I feel like there's more and more people talking about OSRS now than there was before.
It's because they pinpointed it. They pinpointed the exact moment where they fucked up RuneScape, and then they like undid it, and then they actually like update it properly now. That's why. Weird.
I never played D3. Should I play it before D4?
No, absolutely
no.
do not do that. It's the same game, first of all.
Yeah.
But also, this one's way better than 3 for sure. Already.
There she is.
Don't do it.
And you're not like missing out on story-related dog shit. Go ahead, I have your back.
Big booty or titty bitches. I think they nerfed that because Blizzard got in trouble.
Just in time.
In what, this game?
Yeah, dude, they nerf titties nowadays in Blizzard because they got in trouble with the Kazi room and all that stuff.
Dude, the old Amazon from
opened the
D2
way
had
for
like
this.
these boobs that just went straight out.
Could not pass
They were
through.
hilarious. They
Those
were
are good
like
old
giant
days.
knockers.
I-
They're like torpedoes. They
The
just went
divine
straight
element
the
you
fuck
say
out.
stop, but
I wanted
can
to
find
be
it.
leaking pre-cum when I
I'm so
play my
close.
video games. What happened?
Simply need
Yeah.
not stop.
Ah, they're all covered up in
Look at what
rags.
Lilith has done to
Blizzard
you.
has been getting non-stop
You're
rape
writing in your own
accusations.
blood.
They really
My
have.
little magpie.
They need to chill out.
She awakened me. She showed
You
me
can tell
things
when there's another allegation because then a new
can't
character
even put
becomes
into
like gay or
words.
something.
Oh yeah,
That's
that what
just-
they heavy-handed on the
I don't
development
care
side,
what
so they
she
can.
showed you.
Maybe this will undo
Yeah.
it.
It's just
Yeah, they
expensive
serious.
here.
It's not even. It's like a pattern or coincidence, but I don't.
When's
think
there gonna
so,
be
man.
like, you know how like books will come out and they'll give them like Hugo awards and stuff. Well, when's there, or like certified fresh or whatever? When's there gonna be like a rape-free certified game? Like people go in and you're like, this game was 100% developed by people that have no sexual assault allegations or
Instead of, like
anything.
non-GMO but for games or something?
Yeah, non-sex
raised.
crimed. Yeah.
We did a background check
Good old
on
ethical
everybody.
game. Everybody is cool that made this.
Not even the security guard or the janitor fucked anybody up.
Yeah.
Like, this is clean from the bottom up.
and lack the required essence.
Oh, is this okay? This is Diablo.
Yeah, this is the Diablo.
Are we winning?
Or something like that. I don't know. I think so. Oh wait,
I
do
think
the corpse explosion. I forgot about that.
Mother, no!
I can't. I need the bodies to make my guys not die. The hell is that? What the heck? Heck?
What the heck?
Hold on a second.
It's like, imagine I just looked over at OBS and it was still on my full screen cam. That would have been horrifying.
And nobody said anything? That'd be fucking hilarious.
No, like I've been kind of casually looking at chat, but there's so many times where like, oh, if I read chat too much, like, why aren't you doing stuff in the game? And then if I don't read chat enough, they fucking scream me for that. There's no pleasing these people. There's no win. There's no great out here.
People are never happy. That's how it be.
They
That's why
just
you
steal
gotta
my
focus
heart.
on what makes you happy, you know?
Yep,
Like killing Diablo
killing Diablo,
at your own pace.
which is quick.
Dude, I keep actually clicking the chat and I like miss out on my inputs. Man.
I do not have any potions.
Where is she?
Make sure to go collect your potions.
I'm using the blood orb. Help
Wait, can I
her.
do this? Oh, she's immune to it.
Yeah.
I'm giving her the suck.
Oh, that's you. Oops.
Giving her the fattest suck of the lot. Okay.
Dude, they beat Demon. Oh my god.
I'm not ready yet.
My guy, I'm like trying to click away. Is there like an ignore people button so that I'm not like attacking trying to run?
Low on essence.
No idea, man. I'm scared. I'm just fucking running, man.
This guy is cheesing me.
Oh, those little lasers fucking hurt.
Whoa! Whoa! Okay, wait, I'm actually like getting hurt.
Yeah, I'm getting fucked up.
Holy shit.
If you see heal 'em up anywhere, that would be awesome. Do we have anything that heals us up? Don't forget
no.
corpse explosion, by the way.
Does it do a lot of damage?
It does a pretty hefty amount. This guy's on me. He's gonna get me. Oh fuck. It's fine. All right, pick me up though. Right now, pick me up. Pick me up right this instant.
God, this guy, the big cheese is on me. I can't.
I know.
Oh fuck. Oh my god.
Oh, and if you look at your mini map, you can see a big array of demons running around. They give them
Oh,
little
family.
skulls. Yeah.
Oh, here, wait, I can give you a bit of a. Oh my god, everything's going black. Oh. Hold on. I got you. There you go.
I'm not ready yet.
Maybe if we just ignore him, we just kill these guys.
I'm going after this hell spawn. Uh-oh.
I'm going after this juicy health pack. Oh my god, he exploded in the health pack. Alright, we're good.
Yeah, I think we're fine now. I think we're alright.
Yeah, the fucking, that big asshole. How can I see?
If I could go in there and get that thing.
Oh,
They give us another one. They give us another
Oh.
big boy.
Oh my god. Focus on the little
The pit lord?
spawn. No, the hell spawn.
Which one's
It's the
where's
last.
he at?
It's the last one.
Oh, okay.
Diablo. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was easy.
Oh,
Didn't even break a
we had
sweat.
to. Yeah, we didn't have to do the big guy. We're fine.
Every time I fucking like move my mouse and I click outside of my monitor, it like
protecting
alt
me.
tabs me almost. That's my issue. Is
I don't want to hate you.
there a matchmaking co-op?
I'm trying. I really am.
I'm sure there's random matchmaking. I'm pretty sure there is.
We're going to make Lilith
I
pay
think that was like a big
for what
thing
she's done.
for them.
So we need blessed blood. Go back to your Prava. Get that
You can lock
blessing.
the mouse to your
Beg
screen in
if
the
you need to.
settings.
By the way, is this
Whatever
the
it
driest fucking like loot
Another
ever?
Harad-
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like they're not even giving me like blue stuff. We're getting dog shit.
Yeah.
Nothing good. Honestly, I haven't. Wait. I found some gloves. They give me a little bit plus, but I haven't really found much. And then I found a helmet. I found my first helmet. I haven't had one yet this whole time. 200 armor. Okay, I got a little bit dripped out. I look different.
You
But
got dripped down, man.
I got dripped out. And I got one
Yeah, at
upgrade
level
point.
15 we get mages. Awesome.
My curse skills afflict debilitating
There's
effects
PvP?
upon my foes. Amplify damage. Iron Maiden. Decrepify.
Wow, that
Enemies afflicted by decrepify.
I really worked up a sweat playing this.
Hey, do you want to? What are you doing? Iron Maiden or are you doing Decrepify?
I'm doing Decrepify because there's like a passive where you get like a 10% chance to stun them, so it kind of helped in that fight because I kept putting it down and running away. And like throwing shit.
I'm doing Iron Maiden.
Yeah, that was you know,
That way,
was the other one I
we
was thinking of.
overlap.
Abilities
We don't
and shit.
overlap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do curses stack? I don't know. I was kind of hoping he could do Iron Maiden or he could do Decrepify. I could do Iron Maiden, and between the two of us cursing them,
Well,
they
Iron
would be
Maiden,
fricked.
Iron Maiden would be good for a big guy, like with single target, and then like Decrepify is for like hordes, right?
I don't know.
Waves of people, because mine's just like a floor, a wide AOE.
How do I see our quests? Is it M? There we go. Did we not? Did we go the wrong way for this? What is this?
I don't want to be Gob.
Oh, north
you
this
say?
way.
Oh, dude, I've been bitching about not getting any yellows. I had 2 yellows.
I had yellows this whole time.
I had yellows. Which one's worth more? This one.
Am I going to TwitchCon 2023 in Las Vegas? Yeah, I plan on it. We still haven't bought our hotel room, so God, I hope I'm
Oh,
going.
dude, if you do that, like, let me know. So I think I might have to get my own room.
Are you bringing Mia?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bringing Mia again.
So you can harass her.
Yeah. Oh, my #1 fan. What a sweetheart. Mean ass fucking woman.
So dude, I can tame it. It's fine.
It's fine. I said, bitch, chill. That's
Yeah.
bitch, sit over there and chill.
I'm like Slickback from fucking Boondocks. Magic.
No, okay, so there was definitely like a vibe of like, is she just trying to like sour the mood? But now that I know that that's her personality,
She just is that way. Yeah.
yeah, she just is like a giant wet blanket. I
There
know
is-
that now.
There
so.
is no. You should be used to it. It's like Abby. Abby's.
Yeah, it's very
got
much
the same
like
Abby demeanor.
it's like Abby, but
Even colder.
no, actually, no. I think Abby's just mean to me. She's nice to everybody else. I think Mia's nice
Wait,
to
what
you
the
and mean
hell?
to everybody else.
Which is, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
Poopin' no me'd want me over at Vegas. I heard that too, Swift. That was Swift. That wasn't some like guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought Swift, I thought you were coming.
That flow. Oh, dude, you got a full blown IT job.
You see.
Hey, good night, man. Hey, have a good rest. Take some melatonin. That cures everything. And have a good nap. I think I'm about to get off too in a second. We killed Diablo, so like that's
We killed the
big-
Diablo.
they
Now
beat
I'm
the
just
whole
talking to
game.
the priest.
Wait, there's a priest to talk to? Let me talk to
Yeah.
this priest first, and then I'll...
People that stand like this piss me off.
But-
Like how the Necro stands.
The
Like, who
necro
the fuck-
stands. Do people care about shit like that?
Do people care about? Yeah, if I saw someone doing that, I'd be freaking the fuck out. Yeah, he stands like.
Does he?
Like-
I didn't paying attention. Hold on.
It's just like a douchebag stance.
Douchebag stance. Let me
Yeah, he's standing
see.
like I
They-
don't know.
I thought all our guys stand like that. I think it's just like the Diablo stand.
No, it's not a Diablo stance. Like if you had like the
Slash
like the
dance.
barbarians probably standing there with his little axes and stuff, but the Necro, of course,
He's
has
got
to
nothing
do
on
his
him.
like I don't know, his like little dumbass Jack
Yeah,
Sparrow
fuck
look.
that guy. Fuck him, dude, for having one leg forward and
Yeah, groin thrust
that.
outwards. Yeah, he's just like look at him from put his back to you, if that makes sense.
put
And
his
a
back.
little, and you can put his like
you see the
now-
arch in his back, like he's trying
Yeah.
to correct his posture, like he's overcompensating.
Yeah, fuck you. if you
Never played a
stand
game
like
in his
that.
life, dude. Yeah, if you stand like this, get out of here. Get
Yeah,
the fuck out of here. Close the tab.
there was
Wait,
a
what is
kid. There was a kid in high school that was like, he didn't. I think he was just trying to be like super cool and badass. This isn't the kid that had the Grim Reaper, like from the pack, like those memes.
Jeez.
This thing's evil as hell. Like he wasn't
Yeah.
that guy that had the Grim Reaper in his binder. This is a different dude. But every picture, every official school photo from this kid, you would see him and he would have his head tilted down and he would be like looking up at the lens like he was like seething.
In between
and he
his
was
eyes.
Like, yeah, he was like fucking them
In
badass.
between his
Like,
hair.
fuck. Yeah, and he would do like the devil horns with his hands and shit. And I just can't
God.
wait until that guy's like probably now this age and just looks back at his yearbook and it's like,
fucking wins
oh
some-
God.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's how
I
you know he
was-
grew up. If he looks back at it and is embarrassed, he grew up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that'd be awesome if he looked back at it and was like, fuck yeah.
God, I miss the old days when I was badass, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so cool back then.
Fedora tip.
Yeah.
This badass duster on or some shit.
Jesus Christ. Like that fucking dude, I always like every time I think about that, I think of that like 40-year-old emo guy.
Yeah.
Like if you look up 40-year-old emo, that guy's everywhere. I think he's like the only emo that's that old.
Yeah, that guy rocks. He was wearing like a Bring Me the Horizon zip up hoodie or some shit. And he's like, yeah, he's like 45 and he has his hair in front of his eyes and everything. That guy rocks because he has like an office job. He has to have a job, and he goes into work with his hair like that with business casual on, which rocks. That guy's my hero.
Or he runs a company. You don't know.
Is the end game worth it? Oh, is the game worth it? I don't fucking know, dude. Me personally, if you have played Diablo a little bit and you like Diablo 3, then yeah, go for it. I mean, that's all I can tell you. I don't know what else to tell you.
I wouldn't play this for myself. How about that?
Yeah.
You need to have at least one other person to play with, because this would be like mind-numbingly boring if it was just you.
Some people like this type of game and like the hunt for the items and stuff. But I don't know. I haven't had like a love for the item grind in a while. The last one that I can think of was getting the Baldur's Side sword in Diablo, or not Diablo,
Dark Souls. Yeah.
Like I would grind items in that game, mostly to make asshole builds, but that's about it.
Well,
do you remember some of the stinker builds we made? Did you ever make those?
I know we did. Like, I was that.
You would go and like grab Quelaag's sword early, and then come back to the to Sin's Fortress and invade people.
Piece of shit. I know. I went all the way to the part where you like can get lightning weapons, and I got like a +10 lightning weapon without like leveling up. Like I was like a pyro or something, and that was just mean. It was just
Uchigatana with like lightning and stuff was.
Yeah, that was just fucking ridiculous. Because you would just one-shot him. It was just to be an asshole, but you know, the most of the fun for me was getting to that point. Honestly,
another really common one was you quick run through the catacombs and do that cool fall, the dim jumps fall down all the way to the bottom.
Oh yeah, to get the Gravelord sword or whatever.
Yeah, you get the Gravelord sword. You also beat Pinwheel, so you have a shitload of flasks and everything.
Yeah, that shit was hard fucking core.
Yeah.
All right, dude. I'll see you around Berlin.
Oh yeah. You want to wrap up? You want to wrap up stream?
Oh, I mean, yeah. I'm dude. It's 12:30. I'm probably going to sleepies.
Yeah.
Go to sleepies.
I'm gonna go smoky, and then I'm gonna go sleepy.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna smoke. I'm probably gonna go for a walk. And
walk, get the blood pumping.
Get the blood pumping, take a melatonin, go to sleep. That's usually what I do.
Yeah. All right. Well, I will talk to you later. I'm going to go say bye to chat on a personal level.
Yep. All right. I'm going to just end it.
Later. Awesome. Okay. By the way, this guy's like, half of everybody is a necro. And 90% of the player base is necro. That's because they made the Amazon, which is like the rogue, right? The rogue isn't it's not like a ranged class, really. I feel like 90% of it just boils down to if you want to do damage, you have to use traps. And so you end up just being the demon hunter, which is kind of like more like a snare and trap, and then let it rip on them with like some stupid bow skill or whatever. It just doesn't feel like you're really archery based. It feels like you're more trap and AoE based. Not a huge fan of the rogue. And then, yeah, I think a lot of people are necro because I think a lot of the other classes, from what I've heard, have been kind of whack and not fun. Oh, necro is best for solo players if they don't have friends. Okay, you guys should probably play necro then. You guys probably get a lot out of that. Yeah, it needs a paladin for sure. Like I don't get what happened to the paladin. I thought the paladin was a classic. Wasn't he like a staple of the series? And it seems like a natural for a game where you play with a party. He has an aura that if you're like in the party, you get the aura. I don't know. It just seemed like he was like utility, but he was also a fucking beast. I don't know. I think they should still have the paladin. Paladin's gonna be DLC for sure. Somebody says, oh, it would be cool if it was just in the base fucking game, don't you think? Yeah. Monk would have been nice too. Dude, I really fucked up on D2. I went Monk as my first class, and it was before, it was right when D3 came out. I played Monk. No updates or anything. It was just like on release. And I kept playing, I kept playing. I got all the way to like hell. And I think the Monk was so weak on release that I just got hard stuck. Like you could leave me alone with 3 enemies in hell, and I would just sit there and I would steal enough health that I could survive, but I would never kill them. Basically, it would take like 40 seconds for me to kill one person, and I was just so butthurt because I don't know, like it had been a decade. I'd grown up on D2, so I was so pumped. I was one of those people that was 100% invested into the hype of D3, and it came out. I wasn't having a good time. The game sucked. And then on top of that, the character class I chose, like I was just beating the game out of duty. And the character class I chose, like I couldn't even fucking like progress. Didn't matter what weapons, what build I went with. And it just felt so hollow. And I just remember like there's that switch moment in your mind where you just kind of look at yourself and go like, this fucking sucks, doesn't it? Like I need to just fucking come to terms with the fact that this game fucking blows. Even though like you went into it with high hopes, and that moment sucks, dude. That sucks so bad. It happens with movies, you know, that like there's a scene in a movie where you just go, oh no, this sucks. Right now it just occurred to me, this sucks horribly. And having that epiphany is a horrible part of life. And that's why I don't do the whole hype thing. Don't do hope. I think that's a norm bit. Hope is overrated. Don't do that. Yeah. I have that happen too much. Yeah, dude, don't get overhyped for stuff. D3 Act 2 was the moment I realized it was trash. I know I've said this a million times, but I don't know if you've heard it, Agent Smitty. But I called it when I was playing D3 on release, and I remember Deckard Cain was not the guy that identified your items for you. You just were able to identify them in town by like holding a button on it, and I was like, they're gonna kill fucking Cain, aren't they? They're gonna kill Deckard Cain. He no longer has a use. You know, take a use away from a character you want to kill for emotional impact or whatever, and the second I saw he didn't identify items and stuff, I was like, ugh. And then they humanized Tyrael, which I was like, I get it. He was like a fallen angel or whatever. They made him human, but I just liked him being this kind of enigma of a character. I thought he was much better. He was much more like, he was a good guy, but he was menacing in his own way because he was just so, what's the word for it? He was mysterious, you know. You didn't know the full like what, I guess the full picture of what Tyrael was about. And then they just, there's like kind of a story in horror movies where they're like, don't show too much of the man in the foam suit, you know, like movies like Predator and Alien did a good job of just, you don't show too much of the bad guy. You know, you can show their point of view, but don't have too much of someone that you want to have like mystique around. And in that instance, you know, I got way too much Tyrael. They like, he takes off his mask. He's just a fucking dude. He's talking. You see him fucking sitting there eating chips and drinking and stuff. I'm like, this is the badass that's supposed to be just floating there with his awesome wings. Do you guys remember the Tal Rasha cinematic from D2 where he fights Bale, who's in like Tal Rasha's body? This is the most badass shit in the world. And the ending where he fucks up the World Stone. Those cinematics fueled my childhood. I thought he was badass. They turned him into a big fucking pussy. God. You guys have awakened something in me tonight. I am fucking, you got me all pissed off about this series. You got me pissed the fuck off. Yeah, they're starting to do that to Master Chief. Yeah, they're trying to do that to fucking like Boba Fett. Like people that I don't even care about. I'm like, dude, just let them be their thing. Like let them be in the background. It's like, oh, he's showing up and they give him these fuckers like all this screen time and all of a sudden they're a lot less cool. Because the fact that they were just there for a short time is what made them cool. Yeah. D4 has badass cinematics though. Yeah, I've seen a little bit so far and it seems like it's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. Sam's really hitting his old ass man rant right now. Yeah. That's I could keep going or I could go to bed. I don't know. Which one should I do? I'll stay up for another like 5-10 minutes if you guys want to chat. If that's all right. I could wait, hold on. I have like, what am I doing here? There's moderation tools going on here. What's this? I have user timeout buttons, moderation tools. No, I have like slow mode on. How do I turn that off? Turn off slow mode. What's R9K? I don't even know that. Follower only chat. I'll keep that on. Yeah. I'm sorry. Shaka. Yeah, I had slow-mo on because, you know, sometimes the chat gets unruly, but if you guys get kind of fucking crazy. Shaka, don't tell me how to. He's telling me to fucking keep slow mode on. Read the goddamn stream URL, motherfucker. This is my stream. I'm telling you, I'm taking slow mode off. I can unmod your ass in 2 seconds. I know what I'm doing here. If things get wild, I'll put slow mode back on. Oh, by the way, I do have I'm gonna exit Diablo 4 now. I do have a video that is basically done. It's a food video. I just gotta finish it tomorrow. I think I'm gonna do like the audio and the music and some visuals. You know, I get some stuff. And there's always this moment where I realize that like I have the video, but there's not enough like introduction to it. It just this one just literally plops it in there. And so I have to figure out some way of like opening it. But for the most part, it's like 96% finished. So it's pretty good, I think. When will we get another Skyrim video? There is not Skyrim. I think there's like an Oblivion Together mod or something, or like Oblivion in Skyrim. There was something Oblivion related that I wanted to play. Yeah. When can I open more packages? Honestly, I could do a mail time stream this week probably. Yeah, I could do one of those. I think I should be able to get this shit finished tomorrow, and then I have the rest of the week to either. Yeah, I could do anything. I could do everything. The world's my oyster. Yeah, Skyblivion or something. Modded Morrowind is based. You know what's funny? The fact that you brought up this guy Gregary, he's like, I'm ready for another masturbation review. That might be one of my personal favorite of my own videos that I don't think like a lot of people even liked, but I thought it was funny. That one's on the Central Gam channel. Because I knew I didn't want it to like get my main channel in trouble. I thought maybe it might, but it was. So you know how like BuzzFeed and stuff, they'll do like bank robber reviews, bank robbing scenes in movies, or like ex-mafia guy reviews mafia scenes in movies. I did a video where it was like chronic masturbator reviews masturbation scenes in movies, and it's completely deadpan the whole time. Like it's not there. you know, it's not lighthearted at all. It's me literally reviewing 5 masturbation scenes in movies and with like a nuanced critique for each one. And I think it's funny. Yeah. But I felt like, you know, I don't know if a second one would be as funny because like the joke's already done. So I kind of want to, though, now that you say it. I think it would be funny to review some more. It was one of those things where like the joke was just making the video. I don't know if I actually had to make the video all the way. Like I feel like it's just funny that a chronic masturbator would review masturbations. Like I don't think I actually needed to make the full ass video. I think I could have just made like a minute long one. But no, I did a full five scene review of it. GQ makes a lot of those videos. Yeah, they do. I really do love the ones where it's people dating and they're blindfolded. And they and they have they talk to each other, and then they have a buzzer in the middle of the table, and like when they decide like I don't like this person, they hit the buzzer. And there's this I think this clip might be in a video, or it might not have had it in there because I think me and Brian were ragging on this lady so fucking hard. But it was this really fit, attractive Asian man, blindfolded, sitting at the table with this very fat lady that was like wearing like a Naruto headband, and they started talking. She's blindfolded too, and he's sitting there asking her about herself, and she goes, I'm really into Asian men. And he can't see her, obviously, but you see his like Adam's apple. He like gulps. He's like, oh, I got this one in the bag, because he's an Asian guy and he's fit and handsome. And then he's like, can we hug? And she goes, sure. And they stand up and hug, and he like tries to wrap his arms around her, and then immediately goes to the table and fucking bang, hits the button. It's the saddest video I've ever seen. The fucking video rocks. So he sits down so politely too. He does a full sit down, puts his hands on the table, and then goes, all right, I gotta commit to it. Man, hits the fucking buzzer. Yeah, those videos rock. Yeah. That poor girl. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess it would suck to totally get that. I have seen another one where a lady is she's just watching the guy walk up to the table, and she's hitting the button as he's sitting down, and she's like, I'm so sorry, because the button's not buzzing. Like, it was so quick, they hadn't even turned the button on yet, and she's sitting there just going like ding 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 ding, like hitting the buttons so fast. Yeah, those videos are awesome, though. Oh, the one where the women rank themselves based on intelligence, and the lady that was up her own ass ended up in the dumbest one. Yeah, that one was great, too, because she like, the way she, like, said, I don't know. Go watch that one, and it's not even the way she ranks everything. It's not her weird way that she analyzes people's intelligence based off of like, she didn't even fucking speak to some of these people. She just looks at one guy. I think it's like the guy that might be the smartest or the second smartest guy. It was just like a regular dude that was like a Marine or something. She just looked at him and was like, you're wearing khakis or something. Fuck you. Like, she put him so far down the list for some reason. And but the funny part was she racistly put the Asian guy at the top of the intelligence list, and then but she was right. He was the smartest at the end. She humbly put herself behind the Asian guy. She was like, I'm smart, but I ain't Asian guy smart. Are you kidding me? And then it turned out she was right. Yeah. But yeah, that lady sucks. No, when she's talking about her job, just the way she was like, I'm a hero. And she like, oh, what I'm doing isn't, just that little fucking, it's such a, that's how I know that I'm too chronically online, is the fact that when a lady just goes like, and does this like fake, I'm on the team thing, it just made me hate her guts for really just a negligible offense. It wasn't even an offense. But I don't care for her at all. Oh, the Asian guy was actually second to last. Still smarter than her, though. How was Diablo? I spent a lot of time in a loading screen. And then and I played a little bit. And I basically finished the beta and never actually saw any of the rest of the game. And now it's bedtime. Yeah. Any chance of Nick Mullen as a guest? Are you out of your fucking mind? I don't think he would come on the show. Or maybe he would. I don't know. I think he's very busy just doing his awesome, successful podcast. I could have Taylor from PKA. I mean, I have contact with Taylor. We follow each other on Twitter. I could have him for sure. You want Wranglerstar episode 2, to be honest? Yeah, Wranglerstar was good. He was a good episode, but I think you'd probably have I'd probably give that a breather. Like 6 months or something like that. Because I want to see where his channel goes. He keeps spiraling down like a weird like militia man spiral, and I kind of want to see where it goes. And then when he's really at what people would consider the fringe, that's when I'll have him back. Yeah, Wendigoon's an awesome guest for sure. Tolden Stone again, that was a good one. I told Tolden Stone, he said he was working on a book, the sequel to. Hold on, let's do a little advert. Let me go get his book. The sequel to Naked Statues, Fat Gladiators, and War Elephants by Dr. Garrett Ryan. Pick this book up if you like little historical tidbits. And he's coming out with a sequel. And when he comes out with a sequel, I was like, oh, we'll have you on for a second thing. I think he should. I think that type of person that writes books, that does these historical type videos, but he does them in such a way that's like entertaining for the, I don't want to say, he's made them like accessible for just normal dudes. Because if I go to Told in Stone, he's got like such great titles that like average dudes that aren't into history will be like, oh, like this one, videos. This is a month ago. The oldest building in Rome. Who wouldn't want to know that? What's the oldest building in Rome? Come on. There's just like, what if Rome fell in 268 AD? Like there's just like tornadoes in ancient Rome. Tornadoes in ancient Rome? I have to know more about that. And they're short. They're like 10 minutes long. I think his channel would benefit heavily from him just going on other people's podcasts. I think he just needs to like set out. Try to find them and get on there. Rabbit holes. Yeah, I guess you could call it that. It's kind of a rabbit hole channel. Snooze Fest? Are you kidding me? Dude, if you don't like history, that's like a male trait, I feel like, liking history. Because like every dad that I knew growing up would sit there on the History Channel and be like, oh, they're doing the week-long special on the Mayans. I'm watching this shit. It was never the Mayans. It was always the Aztecs because they were the ones that cut off people's heads. And dads would love that shit. That, and then in the early 2000s, the History Channel got really into Nazis. And they were like, did they practice black magic? Could the Nazis summon demons from the deep? There was like all this occult bullshit about what was that guy's name? That little dork with the circle glasses. Himmler. Yeah, there was all like this weird occult shit about Himmler. Did he really have Hellboy under his command? And then they would have like a 6-hour long documentary on the History Channel about that shit. So many dads were like, you know, that was before like a lot of dads were on the internet. So they were probably watching that going like, oh, it's on TV. It's probably real, right? It's got the little history H in the corner. It says a big H right there. Has to be historical fact that Himmler had demons and shit. Yeah, he was obsessed with mythical bullshit, but they definitely leaned into the conspiracy type side of those things pretty heavily. Oh, yeah, How It's Made and Mythbusters. Yeah, those were the shit. Now it's all Ancient Aliens and stuff. Well, it's been Ancient Aliens for a decade, so we need something new. We went through Nazi occultism, and then we went to Ancient Aliens, which is really like the most disrespectful shit, because the only things that they come in and go like, aliens have to have built this is places that are like undeveloped nations. Are you telling me these goddamn are you telling me these fucking people built this shit? No fucking way. They don't even have electricity here. It's like, I'd be so pissed if I was Egyptian and this guy was like, there's no way these fucking people built these pyramids. It had to be aliens. I refuse to believe Egyptians could build this. That would fucking piss me off so bad. Aliens built Machu Picchu. Are you kidding me? They brought all these rocks up here to this mountain. Deep ocean stuff. Those guys, that seems like a fun thing to do, like the deep ocean stuff. I guess like deep sea exploration with wow, that was like an intense intestinal pain all of a sudden. Those dudes that like they find, have you ever seen those Twitter videos where it's like never before seen animal deep in the Mariana Trench or whatever? Those guys will sit there and just stare at those monitors for like weeks before they see anything worth seeing. And I don't think it would make for good TV, because they're just sitting up in a boat with an Ethernet cord that goes down for like 2 miles until it gets to a little robot down there. But I found out what they do a lot of the times to figure out what's going on down there is whales, when they die, a whale carcass sinks, and when it lands on the ocean floor, all the little creatures come out of the woodwork and go feed on the whale carcass. And so those deep sea probes and stuff, they hang out around whale carcasses because they know everybody comes over there and get a little munch. And so you get to see all sorts of weird stuff. That's kind of cool if you go look at like what are those called? Whale stuff? Oh, it's called a whale fall. Yeah, whale falls. Go look up whale falls on YouTube. You can see like half-eaten whales at the bottom of the ocean, and a lot of times it's just like octopus and stuff hanging out on them, eating them. Actually, you want to see this is the last thing I'm going to talk about before I go to bed. It's like 1 a.m, but There's a documentary called My Best Friend, My Octopus Best Friend or something. It's about this guy that's a freak, and he goes out in the ocean and lives with an octopus. Every day he goes out there and hangs out with this octopus. It's fucking weird. Go watch it. This guy's like, he tries so hard for 45 minutes. Like, there's people that are masters of persuasion, and they can call you and they can talk to you, and in about 30 minutes they can get you to agree of something that you wouldn't have initially agreed on. And that's what this guy tries to do. He tries to show you his backstory, and he tries to rope you into his life and how it came to pass that he is now best friends with an octopus. And there is not a moment where I buy it. At no point I'm like, oh, that's reasonable. No, this guy's a freak, dude. He goes out and hangs out in like the most dangerous water with like the tallest waves just so he can hang out with a fucking octopus. And so it's a whack documentary for sure. Is it Octopus Teacher? No. It's hold on. Oh yeah, My Octopus Teacher. That might be it. Let's see. My Octopus Teacher. On Netflix. 8.1 out of 10. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, this guy's a whack job. Go watch that. Go watch the first episode. He does make some good points about, like, you know, being out in nature does feel good. But he just went the extreme of, he just started like free diving in the ocean, and it does not look fun. It doesn't look appealing. It seems like torture. It seems like he tortures himself every day. He's probably going to stroke out from getting in water that cold that often. Netflix is dying. There's nothing good anymore. I kind of miss... See, the problem is now that there's so many streaming platforms and everybody has realized there's a lot of money to be made in it, they're not as good as they used to be. But Netflix, when it first came out, they would get these deals with old production houses where they would say, like, hey, we run this streaming platform and we want to license your back catalog of movies. And they used to be able to go on Netflix and see just like, not like super big movies, but they had like 1,000 just kind of like B-rate movies that people had forgotten about from the 80s and stuff. They had just like old shitty movies that were kind of like hidden gems, and they had a lot of them. And then those contracts, like those big bundle deals that they would do, dried up real quick once people realized, because before they were like, what, you're gonna give us money to license, you're gonna license the movies to stream? What the fuck does that even mean? Like, when they were doing it, it wasn't even a thing, really. And then they realized how much money was in it. So all those people have like their own fucking Paramount Plus and all this dog shit. But, or half the time they're just like, no, we're not going to let you make money off of it. And so they shelve it for some reason, which I don't get. The Criterion Collection has all the classics. I haven't actually went diving through the HBO Criterion partnership or whatever. I see you can go in there and see a bunch of their lists and stuff. See a lot of the movies, but I just haven't gone in there. I've unfortunately been watching a lot of Peppa Pig, a lot of SpongeBob. Recently, the kids have been into Scooby-Doo, but not Scooby-Doo Where Are You? It's the Scooby-Doo with Scrappy-Doo, which is not the good one, but it has the better theme song. That's good. Yeah, SpongeBob is good, for sure. Watch Barry Lyndon. I have Barry Lyndon. I'm sorry, Lyndon Barry. Wait, is it Lyndon Barry? I thought it was Barry Lyndon. Anyways, yeah, I I have it on Blu-ray. I haven't even watched it yet. I just haven't had time. Yeah. Yeah, newer SpongeBob is whack. I'm talking season 1 through 4 or 1 through 5 is just back-to-back bangers every time. The lens they use in it is insane. Are you talking about Barry Lyndon? Oh wait, I'm using Chatify, so I can just click this. Yeah, he says love that movie. It's great. The lens they use in it is insane. Yeah, Kubrick was known for like. I remember watching some video where he would order like Zeiss lenses, and this is back in the day before they had mechanical precision. So like now optics is so it's been so sanitized in a way. Like I really do like this is a Sony camera, and I got, actually that's a Tamron lens, but I have like some Sony Zeiss lenses, and they're so like clinical. You know what I mean? Like they're just so they're like, I know it's gonna be sharp, but there's no like quirks to the lenses. They don't have any like weird aberration effects. They don't have any like weird anything going on. It's just like smooth. It's just like it's there, but there's no character. You know what I mean? It's just like a legit clean image. Back in the day when Kubrick was getting lenses and stuff for those old movies, they would hand grind the lenses. I don't know how the fuck that works, but I guess they would take like sandpaper, I don't know, like diamond sandpaper, and hand grind the lenses. And so each lens, and by lenses I mean like the like lens elements. And if you guys don't know anything about camera lenses, but sometimes they'll have like 16 different elements inside of them, little glass lenses. And those were all like hand ground. And so the actual end product lens, he would order like 5 or 6 of them or something, and then he would test them to see which one he liked, because each lens was different in its own way. And I mean, who the fuck would want to go through that process? But it is cool that he could go through that process. Like I would hate to get a lens from someone and be like, oh, this one's a shitty one. But it is kind of cool that he was that meticulous that he would go through different lenses from the same product line. I guess they were like, yeah, wet sanded or anything. But the you know what? I think I might be boring you guys to death sitting here fucking talking about weird camera shit. So we're bitching about this guy that's fallen in love with an octopus under the ocean. So I'm gonna get out of here because tomorrow I have a big editing day. Just like every day. Every day is a big editing day. And I will talk to you guys later. Good night. Thank you for coming to the stream. It was fun hanging out with Brian. Go sub to Brian. Follow him on Twitch. He's Red Dragonius. Damn. This lady's got some fat ass titties. God damn. I don't want to rate her because you guys are gonna be mean to her, but check out twitch.tv. It looks like SKU ESSKAYUW. Damn. But no, I won't rate her. Oh, Stalt's streaming. I'll rate him. Stalt, the editor. Our boy. How do I rate this guy? How do I do this? Yeah, I'll raid him. Raid. Can I raid from Chatterino? Let's see. That work? I started to raid. Nice. Ayo, why she recommended? Dude, I follow. All right. She ain't even recommended to me, dog. I am a loyal follower. Yeah. Stimpy's close to 1 million subs. Damn, dude. He'll get there. That guy's great. He great. He good. That's weird. There's only 1,400 people ready to raid, and there's 1,700 people in here. 1,800. So, what the fuck, guys? Come on, guys. What the fuck? All right, you guys ready? I'm gonna ship you off in 3, 2, 1, go. Nice.